Oh god. Oh god. Alright, I think it takes it. I solved the issue. Okay. I first need to disinfect myself. In fact, I don't think it's absolutely a necessity for me to be on screen for this one. Those are right here. Oh man, this feels nice doing this. Oi. Ugh, there we go. That feels better. Ah. There we go. Alright. Oh, my drink's starting. Whoa. There we go. There we go. Hey. There we go. Right on. Alright. Here, let me do this real quick. Let's get some shit going down. Before we get in with the shit. It's because the latest rant. Oh yeah, the Skeletor Pierce. Dude, that shit is just too fucking good. I too go back to that every now and then because it's just so nice and beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing. Oh yeah, here. I'm not too sure what I should delve into first, the claw or the cider. The claw. Because I'm definitely feeling the claw, but, you know, I also have a cider and they're both strawberry, so... Definitely make sure I got my share of this berry going. The White Claw. Oh, of course you'd say that. Of course! Okay, I'm feeling it too. Because, like, I feel like they'll get me going for the cider, which will get me going quicker. Also, somehow the other day at work, my pen fell off. I still have it. I still have the pen. But I'm gonna have to, like, do some minor little adjustments. But also, I need to get another lapel pen like this so I can make sure they're kind of more secure. I'm sure, honestly, there's a way for me to have it more properly pinned here. But either way. Damn condensation. Come on now. I thought you said your pen fell off for a moment. My penis? Yeah, my penis, dude. Yeah, my penis totally fell off. No, it's one of my pins I have here. It's like it was an East German, like, marksman's, like, rifle, like, kind of like a competition marksman's, like, badge of some sort. But, like I said, I still have it. It's in my room. So, it would suck if I did lose it, though. But luckily, you know, my coworker's like, hey, your hat and your pin fell off and put it right here. And I'm just like, oh, shit. I was like, God damn it. That was a bummer, but like I said, it's an easy fix. I mean, especially with a hat like this. I mean, this is a hat that I'm wanting to fuck with and, you know, just mess around with anyway. Here, let's see what this is. Seen some news. Hiring incentives set to become more complicated in Oregon near the end of September. Well, what this is about. The exception in Oregon law set to expire near the end of September will make it more difficult and expensive for employers to offer hiring incentives, including public and private employers, because Oregon's pay equity law prohibits hiring incentives, like bonuses, unless current comparable employees are given the same amount of money. Hiring bonuses have been successful in helping employers like TriMet increase interest in their job openings. Transit Destiny started off with 2,500 hiring incentives last November, then they bumped it to 3,500. Yep. And then 7,500 in April. We're really started to get people's attention when we increased the bonus up to 7,500. TriMet Public Information Office to York said. The hiring bonus has become a tremendous impact when it comes to the number of applications that we're getting in. Since January, York said 1,850 people have applied for bus driver positions, although 136 have been hired and 68 made it through to graduation as of early August. Well, if they have so many fucking people applying for it and only so few have been hired, then like what the hell's going on with that? Base Oregon? Well, I don't know, not really. I mean, it's just like, cause, I mean, it is, but it isn't, cause, I mean, having a bonus where it's like, hey, you get like a sign-up bonus when you get hired, I mean, that should be given across the board, and honestly, I mean, if anything, it should just be like, hey, if you're gonna have, I mean, from what it sounds like, it's like, at least with, let me go back up, because Oregon's pay equity law prohibits hiring incentives like bonuses unless current comparable employees are given the same amount of money. I mean, honestly, that seems fine, but, like, that's just because employers don't want to do that. But fuck them. Wouldn't take the corporate free money as a man of people? I mean, if you're getting hired and plus you're getting an hourly wage on top of that, and at least when it comes to TriMet, that's actually not a terrible job, especially when it comes to pay, and they're a union too. So, I mean, like, a lot of these different jobs actually isn't necessarily bad that when they have sign-up bonuses, but, I mean, it should just be across the board, and should just be like, yeah, I mean, for everyone who gets hired, this is, you know, what they get, like, no matter what. You know, if they're hired, you know, for this company, then this is what they get for the bonus. Just seen listed lateral hires get on streets months before brand new hires and cost limits to my train. Leading to potentially quicker, cheaper fix to police bureau of 100. Wait, is there some other stuff I missed here? Oh, this is just about the police. Well, I could give a fuck about them. Police agencies like the Portland Police Bureau, like I could give a fuck about them, like I said, are also using hiring incentives, and they're still having bad luck. They're the ones I'm okay with getting fucked. In late June, Portland City Council approved to 25,000 hiring bonuses for current police officers with an Oregon certification called a lateral hire. 9 officers are in the pipeline for that bonus. Wow, dude. And they do fuck all anyway. The city is also adding $5,000 to people with no police experience. What? An offer 16 brand new officers took advantage of before swearing in late Oh my god. Okay, no, fuck this. Yeah, base Oregon, get rid of this. Oh my god, what the fuck? What? Yeah, let's just kind of continue to incentivize the problems of policing, you know, in the city and shit by just, like, basically taking people that don't know fuck all about what, like, you know, being a cop is. Not like, I mean, being a cop takes much anyway these days, but still. Agency leaders that said lateral hires get on the streets months before brand new hires and cost less money to train. Well, oh my fucking god. Leading to a potentially quicker and cheaper fix to a police bureau with around 100 vacancies. However, the $2,500 or the $25,000 hiring bonus, Jesus Christ, ends near the end of September. The ordinance approves the bonus states the money must be paid out by September 27th before hiring incentives are once again classified as compensation. I could be a police officer. I just checked. I just need to check your asshole. Yeah. Basically it's essentially just prove, like, hey, do you qualify for being a major asshole, insecure about your manhood and tiny dick, and also, what was the other thing? There's one other thing, too. Oh, and low IQ. Anyway, here's some other stuff to this here. During a tough job market, state lawmakers temporarily removed hiring incentives from the definition of compensation in House Bill 2818 to 2021 and then extended the exception in Senate Bill 1514 to 2022. But the extension ends 180 days after Governor Kate Brown's COVID state emergency ended September 28th. Due to Oregon law, Portland can only continue offering 25,000 to lateral hires after September 27th if it gives current Portland officers with the same experience a $25,000 bonus retention bonus. A far more expensive scenario. The police bureau's $5,000 sign-on bonus can continue because the city paid retention bonuses to current officers and employees that squares the sign-on bonus of Oregon's pay equity law. Tryman says it's unsure what will happen if it's a $7,500 bonus after September 28th, but the agency said whatever decision it makes would comply with state law. The bonus is paid out across 3 years. Okay. Well, that's kind of sucky. I wish it was kind of like immediate. That'd be nice. Washington allows companies to offer higher incentives without paying current employees. There's no similar deadline September 28th in Washington. 40% of cops that beat their wives, 60% cover for them. Or, yeah, and the other 60% aren't exactly reported on. Yeah, but I mean, just especially considering how much like the Portland Police Bureau basically just gets free money out of this, yeah, I actually would like to see these higher incentives go away, honestly. Besides, it hasn't really been given much benefit, to where it's needed. So it's just like, oh, it's supposed to, it's going to be a lot tougher. It's like, it's like what? They're barely hiring people as it is. Like, I mean, if there's so many people coming in for applications and shit like that, I mean, then where in the fuck, are all these new people that are supposedly, coming in? It's because in a lot of ways they just, frankly, kind of refuse to look at these people. They look at very specific things. They probably do profile, the name and addresses of places, depending on where you live and shit. There's probably a lot of various reasons, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just fucking bullshit. It's like, if there's a mass need, then yeah, like, take a cut of profit and fucking, do a mass training program and get fucking people hired en masse. And yeah, if there's a lot of people that don't graduate, then, have them be employed in other positions that are needed. Well, if you lived here, yeah, and I've lived in Texas for a couple weeks during the summertime. It sucks. It's fucking horrible. So yeah, I was melting then, and I would melt now. I'm melting now, as it is up here. We didn't sleep when we got spoiled. And if you want to the rights around the world, you might as well lose your own. Cause he's doing pure militarism. Weapons around our necks. The warriors and flags. You need to go to Alaska at some point. It's absolutely beautiful. I would like to go to Alaska at some point, honestly. As legal weed. I mean, that wouldn't be the only reason. They also have, like, some decent UBI and shit. You're just saying this because it has, because they fucking on, or, like, going through the states and reacting to them and shit. Which I actually, for the most part, kind of agree, but there's, like, some stuff I'm just like, it's like, come on, I'd give a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt. I've been to Alaska. Well, I mean, I would like to go. Honestly, thinking about it, I probably could, like, in a way, if I did, like, my trip to Canada, but maybe did, like, a little stopover hangout in Alaska, and then fucking, just take a flight, to Portland from there or something. That'd actually be kind of cool. Took like a little round trip. It's nice aside from the Kodiak bears beating you down your door for food. Well, that's why you have a fucking gigantic gun. Like in Alaska, just dead ass, you'd be kind of dumb not to have a gun. There's definitely some places, you know, in the world where you'd be foolish not to have a weapon. You know, at least when it comes to a firearm, honestly. And Alaska is one of those places. Like, you definitely want a shotgun and, like, a high-powered, you know, revolver of some sort if you live in Alaska. Like, like, a high-powered hunting rifle. Like, you want, like, a shotgun rifle and, like, a fucking, you know, Magnum revolver of some sort if you're living in Alaska. Because, I mean, all three are going to be necessary when living up there for some way, shape, or form. Mostly likely to fend off bears. What's up, Dr. Soup Burrito CMC? What's up, man? Surprised YouTube notified. Oh, it did. Well, that's nice, at least. His stepdad did oil pipeline security in early 2000s. Said he wouldn't walk out of the house in Alaska unless with less than a 308. Makes sense. I mean, you got moose, fucking bears. I mean, there's shit that will legit fuck you up if you don't have something like that. Again, it's just one of those places in the world where you legit do want a firearm for just living there. Alaska's just one of those places. Luckily, not because of people, though. Just because of nature. I don't know if it was in Alaska, but there's like that video of that dude snowmobiling, and a moose like charged at him, and he had a 9mm, but it's just like, yeah, because he had a Glock, but it's just like, I mean, man, like, you got like a little pipsqueak, little like water gun in comparison to what is probably necessary, especially for a moose. I mean, it did the job, but it's just like, it's rural as Alaska, never had a problem. I mean, if you're living on like the ranch and like out in the countryside and shit, and Alaska's a lot more rural than Montana. It's not like, you know, Montana where like it has like full on like cities and shit. Like the biggest city is Anchorage, and it barely qualifies for a city, honestly. I mean, if you're living out in the boonies in Alaska, like, I mean, it's a different environment, honestly. I mean, it would be one of those areas where you probably will want something. I mean, also, if you're out in the boonies, you're probably not going to have a lot of access to food, so at the very least, you need something to hunt. It's a bigger city than you see in Montana, Lamau. Is it really? Well, yeah, I'm actually going to look at this really quick. Fairbanks is another biggish city in Alaska. Okay, well, I guess Alaska does have some pretty big cities. I mean, alright. I mean, knowing Alaska, I mean, Anchorage doesn't have any, like, real land access to it. So I didn't, you know, knowing that, like, like, how would, you know, it's like, I mean, you know, it's like, it wouldn't necessarily be that big in my mind. Though, to be fair, fucking, Zukov, are you stuck? But to be fair, I mean, like, Montana cities aren't exactly that big either. It's only been, like, recently that they've been kind of getting big. Though, I mean, the only city I've been to in Montana, like, for a decent amount of time is Billings, and that's, like, the only, you know, one of the places where it's kind of boomed a little bit recently. Like, I've grown up being there in the summers, and I remember as a kid Billings being a lot more smaller than it is today. Like, it's probably almost twice the size now, maybe not in population, so to speak, but it's sprawled out a lot. Damn, almost a little over 250,000. All right, Anchorage. Okay. All right. Well, I thought wrong on that one. I honestly thought it'd be a lot more smaller than that. Billings is 109K. Wow. I thought Billings would be more about 250,000. I honestly legit thought those numbers would have been flipped. Like, that was what my guess was. I mean, considering especially, you know, like, being in Billings, you know, in the last couple years, especially, you know, seeing that place pretty frequently growing up. I mean, it's it's popped up a little bit, but I mean, I guess definitely not like, to maybe a quarter mil. Missoula and Bozeman are growing faster than Billings. Well, Bozeman makes total sense because of the MSU. I mean, the only thing Billings has got going for it is fucking fossil fuels. That's pretty much it. And Catholic religiousness. So, like, I mean, Billings doesn't really have that much going for it. My dad literally said, like, Billings has always been, like, a boom-bust town. And he thinks that's okay for some reason. Because he would say there would be periods where, Billings would be popping and shit, naturally be growing, but then it would just crash into town and, like, have nothing for, like, forever. Also have access to recreation. Well, Billings does too, but I imagine not to the same amount like Bozeman and Missoula, because those are, again, a little closer to MSU, and Bozeman is, well, I mean, MSU's in fucking Bozeman, so obviously for people who are going to be younger, they're probably going to be living in Bozeman, or, the next closest town or city really is Missoula. I don't know what else is in Missoula, though. I don't know too much about that. I just know about Bozeman and Billings for the most part, and kind of surrounding areas. I know a little bit about some of the reservations that happen to be near Billings. Oh, okay, Missoula has university. So it has the other university, okay. Well, that would also explain why it's also growing. Because it's pretty much, like, those are two, like, university cities. So, because there's also a lot of people that go to those universities for education, thus, they're going to grow a lot more. Because there's also probably family that move with their kids as well, and friends that get together and shit like that. There's a lot of various aspects and variables to that. So, if Billings had a little something else going on for it, maybe it would actually be more competitive with the growth. Which honestly probably explains why it's a, quote, boom-bust town. Like, I guess there's still some merit to it, and to this day, honestly. Because while it is booming in some elements, I guess, I mean, I guess for everything else, not really. Like, one thing that's huge there is, like, Little League Baseball. I don't know why, but it's fucking big there in Billings. And Catholic churches and neighborhoods galore. And, like, fossil fuels and shit. I don't know if it's, like, natural gas or oil or what. I think oil. Because of, like, the fucking gigantic tanks and shit that you can see in their more industrial zones. So I'm assuming it's probably fucking oil. And considering what my dad used to do for work growing up and shit, when he was still living out there, it was oil, and my granddad used to work for oil. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they're oil refineries, now that I think about it. Which, I don't know what company is based there, and I'm assuming it's probably the same one that's been there since, my fucking granddad and dad have been worked there. And they're known to do some fuck shit, obviously. They're the fossil fuel industry, but like, my dad has got some pretty fucked up stories, honestly, when it comes to what they've done locally in the areas, when it comes to the environment. And what he was told to do to, quote, clean it up. So, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's, like, maybe some newspapers about that, from back in the day or some shit. They'll probably ban Taco Bell next because Association of Stoners. Oh wait, do you know what Republicans in Alabama want to try to do? Ban Delta 8, which is diet weed. Dude, are they fat fucking stuck up? Are they just that stuck up? Honestly, I have a feeling that wouldn't pass. Maybe, like, unless it was like a bill, like, that was put for the House. But if it's like something that's like, I guess I don't know if Alabama has like ballot initiatives where people can vote on measures and shit. But if it was that, then there's even with conservatives, I don't see that necessarily passing, because even conservatives like their weed at this point. There's not really that many people outside of like puritanical Christian fanatics that are against weed. Like, I mean, there's even conservatives that are like, yeah, I like weed. I like that. It makes me feel better. So I mean, at this point, it's started to become pretty bipartisan with the whole weed issue. I know. I mean, if it's like, for Alabama's legislator, then yeah, well, I guess Alabamians are fucked. But I guess that depends on what your governor decides to do. We don't have ballot thingies. Oh, well, see, Alabama sucks. Like, I mean, Oregon's got a lot of flaws in itself with its electoral process, at least when it comes to like close primaries and And, well, I mean, honestly, that's really about it, and just the lack of multi-ranked choice voting and shit like, some just things like that, but frankly, honestly, that's pretty much all the country. Like, a lot of these things that, you know, are flawed here are pretty much flawed literally everywhere else, but fundamentally fucking worse. Like, Oregon's actually pretty decent with a lot of its voting process. In fact, honestly, way better than other states. I think there's only, like, a couple other states that are actually pretty comparable when it comes to, like, how, pretty, fleshed out the process is. Or at least with how, like, equivocal to what it is. Especially with, like, the whole mail-in vote thing, and then having, like, you know, just being so far in advance where you can actually, like, spend time and think about it. Which is what I like. And especially if it was a multi-ranked choice voting thing, it'd honestly be a lot more easier, and I think, you know, more of an incentive for people to decide, because then it's just like, oh, well, it's, you know, maybe my person that I'm more into that's a little bit more, quote, fringe, you know, might be able to get it, so, hey, I'll vote for that person first and just go for the second best or some shit. Or if you don't want to do that, you just leave blank. Because they have the open primary system. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, the major flaw for Oregon, I think, concurrently, at least with the current system, outside of what could be approved onto it, is closed primaries. Like, if we got rid of that, I think Oregon would have a way better system when it comes to it. Now, how about stank choice voting? You vote with the person who stinks the least. Well, I mean, I copay no los dos, bro. Why not both, man? I mean, it's one fool versus the other fool, so it's just like, which one's the least stinkiest fool? But Joe Brandon improves the stank choice voting, I tell you what there. Joe Dark Brandon Malarkey Jack, you know, here's gonna tell you that I approve of stank choice voting. Listen here, fat. We don't need no multi-ranked choices voting up in this malarkey. What we need is some stank choice voting. We gotta find the one who stinks the least. We gotta find the one that has the most prettiest smelling hair. Yes. My god. Fucking Joe Dark Brandon Malarkey Jack Biden, dude. Pope choice voting, whoever stinks up the Pope's office most wins. Well, so far that would actually be Joe Brandon. That would actually be Joe Brandon, like, cause he's like, there's like a couple articles, and had like a whole thing where he was doing like his little tour in Europe, where apparently he was also farting it up. Like, I mean, you know, and there's been multiple people that were talking about that during that time, so it's just like, I mean, all in all, most certainly, I think, you know, that would actually be him. Please don't use my name in vain. What, Dark Brandon? Or Joe Brandon? It's the, oh my god, it's not you. I mean, I could do Peterson, Jordan Peterson. I could use that name in vain. If Portland passes ranked choice voting, we could get the ball rolling statewide. Oh, yeah. I kind of wish that was, like, not just Portland, but just statewide, but, you know, hey, it would get the ball rolling, though, you're right.
What are we talking about?
Multi-ranked choice voting. Because Portland might get it after these elections, but not the rest of the state. But it might get the ball rolling with the rest of the state to probably adopt it too.
Adopt what?
Multi-ranked choice voting. It's basically like the idea is that when you have your ballot, you'll have the ability to, you know, you'll have your first choice that you want to vote for like you traditionally would, but you can also, from that, go from, like, you know, your second choice to your third choice and so on, and you can actually add those. So, let's say, you know, at the end of the election, your first person that you voted for didn't win, then your vote would be tallied for the second choice, you know, and or whoever that would be, you know, and so on and so forth. So, basically, it is kind of like a more democratic way of helping, also getting people that might be a little bit more like third-party based or nonpartisan based and shit like that could be on the ballot, because it gives more of a ability for people to, you know, like, choose someone.
It's like a multi...
Yeah, like, it gives a person ability to choose based on, like, preference versus, you know, party and shit. What was that?
You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Multiple choice answers.
What was that?
Multiple choice answers?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Basically, you basically put your people in if they fucking don't win.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that kind of fucks up, because, let's say, the first round and the second round that everybody picked, are all the same, and they all fucking have the same ballot. What the fuck are they gonna do after that?
Well, I mean, if like I guess
We're
if
still 6 years apart, so
yeah, no, you're all good,
I'm
but like
keep everything going.
yeah, you're fine. But yeah, with yeah, I guess with that, it's just like, let's say, like, you know, I guess for Oregon's case, it would be a close primary, so if it would be pretty much, like, I mean, I guess in a general election sense, there would be, you know, like other parties involved with it too, where you can vote for, and in that, and obviously, at least for the first couple elections, it's very likely people's first choices would either be like Republican or Democrat, you know, for the most part.
We just need to say fuck it, divvy it up 50-50, and just put fucking one of each in fucking 50 groups. Make it 100 and just fucking divvy them up 50-50.
Yeah. But at least one element of what, like, first. Yeah, I mean, at least, I mean, one element what I like about California's voting process is that they're open primary, so even if you're, like, registered for one party, you can vote for whoever the fuck you want. So, like, I don't
vote at all, because it's all bullshit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, because, you know, the topic, just because, like, for example, at least there, for example, like, let's say you're...
Where the fuck are you going?
He's been
You
weird.
have a goddamn fucking chair.
He's been weird over there, but...
The fucking day I walked in the bathroom, I'm like, hi, can you get out of the fucking bathroom?
Ranked choice voting would eliminate primaries altogether. All the candidates would just run in general. Oh, okay. So, it would just basically be like... Yeah, okay, so it would just get rid of the whole primary element. Alright. That's even better, honestly.
Have you had this before? Corona?
Honestly, likely I probably have, but just more asymptomatic.
How was your symptoms?
Well, and like I said, it's probably more asymptomatic, because times that happened, it's like they weren't COVID symptoms and shit, so.
Well, because mine started out with a sore throat, but it didn't hurt. And then, well, basically, it started out with cold chills, my head hurting on fucking Monday. Tuesday started out with
with the whole, like, sore throat thing, it's gonna be hard for me to know if it is COVID or just weed. For me, honestly, I'm just gonna,
well, I mean, mine was because it felt like it was sore, but it wasn't raw.
Yeah.
Like, usually sore throats are fucking raw as fuck. Then it was my voice, coughing.
At least that's how pronounced it. I gotcha.
I don't fucking know anymore. I'm just like, I gotta wait fucking 2 days for my fucking results to get back.
I was mentioning that to my other closer, and he was saying, it's like, hey, if you know, for some reason they kind of fuck you over with this, you know, you being sick and shit, then you know, obviously when you get better, they said they would.
I will.
Yeah, I even told them, it's like, oh yeah, I mean.
Tell your store director.
No, I mean, I haven't, you know, mentioned anything to her about that at all. You know, I've just been talking.
If you guys bump my pay up.
Well, it would. I mean, it would probably be.
My pay goes to fucking.
It'll probably go up with the new raise that comes in with this coming paycheck, I believe, which is, I think, 19 something.
If he fucks me over, it's just gonna be like, dude, if you're gonna fuck me over like this, whatever.
Yeah, then, alright, well, I guess
There's nothing in my locker that I need. I mean, the only thing that's in there is Sharpies, gum, and the pay stub. And I mean, nothing valuable.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would like to go back to being close to home. But, I mean, what I'm doing right now is just... See, but the funny thing is if you guys get it, you guys get paid for that time off, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because there's also medical leave and shit like that. And
well...
sick pay and...
Habib had it, and he got paid for his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, because there's, like, sick pay and shit, and times
if I don't get... I mean, I'm gonna talk to Trevor tomorrow about it, tell him, hey, this is what's going on, is there any way that I get compensation for this?
Yeah.
If he tells me no, then there's a big fucking indication that they don't give a fuck.
Right, yeah.
About their employees.
Yeah, which honestly, I mean, frankly, the mentality in the U.S. about it just seems like no one really gives that much of a shit at this point with it.
Well, it's got, okay.
Even though it's still an ongoing thing, obviously.
This is how it went this morning. I tried calling the place down on 82nd. They didn't get a person. So I called Northwest Urgent Care, which is literally down here, 0.6 miles away from us.
Right, yeah.
They wouldn't take me because I only have Oregon Health Plan.
Gotta love our fucking insurance in this country so much. It was like, oh, you don't have the right insurance, and we can't accept you. It's like, oh my god.
No, because theirs was fucking full.
Oh my lord.
So then I called back down to
full, but can't just do one quick little checkup.
Well, I called down on 82nd again when I said I have OHP. They're like, oh, you have OHP? I said, yeah, I have Oregon Health Plan. They're like, oh, well, we have to make sure you fit in the realm of it. I said, well, even if I don't have insurance, how much is it? $147 just to get a
you were telling me about some of the shit earlier, and it's just like...
When I could have gone to downtown Portland, paid nothing, and got it for free.
Yeah.
I went to Vancouver, I went to Peace Health, where I normally go for everything that's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bill with them for $538. I went in today, showed them my OHP. Free.
Well, that's good at least.
No, because I have insurance. And if I
OHP is technically like that, isn't it?
Health plan.
Yeah, that's an insurance plan.
Yeah, they basically just bill.
Yeah.
So it's the same way.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway. But it went from calling those two places, saying fuck those places, going to Vancouver Clinic, them telling me that they can't treat me, me calling Peace Health, where I normally go, saying I have OHP, I have a Washington license, can you guys take me? Oh yeah. We'll just bill your insurance. I said, really? How much is it if I don't have insurance? $300.
Ugh.
For a fucking test.
Just for one fucking test. All this hubbugablue just for getting a goddamn test. It's just so fucking ridiculous.
I went to Peace Health. I got there about 9:30ish. Guess what time I got out of there?
Like noon?
Yeah.
Wow, I was on the ball. Holy shit.
Well, 11:59, but I'll just say noon.
But even that's, same difference.
Literally, it took them that fucking long. It took them from that time to fucking see me.
Major shouldn't take that long.
To fucking do my test. To discharging me.
It should not be like a whole goddamn huggabaloo just...
There's a whole fucking bunch of people.
Oh my fucking god.
You gotta realize this.
It should just...
No, realize this. They open at 8 o'clock on fucking Saturday. I fucking... When I know there's blood in my piss, I know I have a UTI. I went to my mom's one weekend. I was pissing blood. And my girlfriend came up, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I am in fucking pain, I have a UTI. She's like, are you gonna be able to go back to sleep? I said, no, I can't fucking go back to sleep. She's like, okay. So we woke up, realizing it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. So you had to basically just kind of like tough it out for like 5-something hours or whatever, or 4 hours or whatever.
Because it takes like an hour and a half to get up to my home. It takes an hour and a half to get up to...
Well, you still kind of have to like...
Shut up!
Took off!
Hey!
Was that gate closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think... No, it was like 4:30, so we were waiting until 5. Well, I stayed up because it takes me a while to get up. It takes me like 2 hours. So we left there about 6. We got up there about 7:30. They opened up at 8 o'clock. They opened up. I told them what my symptoms are. I think it was like 30 minutes later they fucking see me. Now when I got scabies, I literally had scabies.
That's like some shit you would hear out of like a pirate's tale. Alright, I got me in the scabies.
I had it for 3.5 months.
Ooh.
Thinking it was a rash and it would just go away. Well, it didn't. I went to the Everett hospital.
Yeah.
I went to emergency. Said I need to be seen.
Yeah, because scabies untreated could be deadly in a lot of ways.
I'm like, I have a rash. I don't know what it is. A trained professional
didn't know what it was?
Did not know what the fuck it was.
I mean...
So literally, Sarah literally told me, she's like, honey, you need to take a day off. I said, you want me to take a day off or a weekend? She's like, take a weekend off. I said, okay. She brought me down to urgent care. The nurse walked in, told me, oh, you have scabies. I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? He's like, look at your hand. Okay. He's like, yeah, you have bumps all over it. I said, yeah, but I also have it down here. He's like, yeah, you have scabies.
Yep.
Dude, all he had to do was walk in and lick my hand.
Well, well, if anything, he probably is familiar with it, you know, and probably more experienced doctor too, and you know, is probably has had patients with it before too. I mean,
but the general fucking region of fucking having it here cannot fucking describe what the fuck it is.
I mean, it's just like
I had it all down my fucking legs, all up my fucking back, my fucking sides.
Yeah, I've heard like about tales.
Oh, dude, that shit is fucking painful.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could fucking do to actually feel relief was sit in a scalding hot bath of fucking water. Ugh. That's the only way I could feel better.
I mean, it probably honestly kind of helped like release a lot of the inflammational like shit.
No, it made it worse.
Well, yeah, I guess because of how hot it is.
But
yeah.
we also did this. We also tried hemp oil. Hemp lotion. That didn't even fucking work.
Oh, the Earth's herb didn't even help.
No, it
damn.
Didn't. But
sad.
When we went to the doctor, they gave us. We had to do 2 treatments. 2 treatments of cream. That fucking burns like a son of a bitch. Because you gotta get it.
Yeah, basically like just a body, just like basically like a body swab of this.
Oh yeah, from the neck down. Oh,
well, it's probably. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Like, what scabies? You know, is it actually a fucking like little insect things? I think. Yeah.
No, that's bed bugs. Is a weird thing.
Well, no, they're like well, from my understanding, like scabies, like when the rash builds up, it's because like. I think it's like because there's these tiny little microscopic like little mite things that can burrow in your skin, and basically they're like, I think that's what scabies are. Yeah, because I remember DFF did an episode on disgusting fucking vermin pests.
Well, 2 different fucking ones. You've got bed bugs, and then you've got.
Well, there's bed bugs, but that's not scabies. Like scabies, like it's like more like a mite.
I thought scabies was like a fungus from not bathing properly.
Actually, I know.
I don't have my phone on me. I'm not.
Well, I know DFF did an episode on this shit. It was like, yeah, I just have to go in the Wayback Machine on DFF's shit.
Well, just look it up on. You're already on YouTube. Look up.
I am on. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's literally what I'm doing.
Look up what is scabies. Fucker, what are you doing? It's like, you're not my uncle. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh wait, went a little too far back.
What?
Because I know this was pretty...
Fucked up thing. Me and Sarah's mom all sound like this. We all sound like shit.
So let's spread it around. Oh, you know what? Here, actually it is. There we go. Oh yes, this does. That did not actually help. God damn it. Man, I know I'm not crazy, but I know DFF did an episode on it. It's just one of those like clickbait ones where it's like
one of those ones you just fucking type what is scabies and they'll fucking pop up.
I'm doing it my way. Oh, you know what? He called it rainbows.
You called it rainbows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said it's about rainbows. You guys, I swear. That's the name of the episode. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. But I think Italian, I mean, people are always fucking crowing about how much they love French and shit, but I think Italian's a beautiful language. It's just spoken by people.
Anyway.
It's with the little weird, like, spaghettis on it, you know? Like, these little things coming out. Like, what's...
All right, hold on. Okay, here we go. I think this is what they are.
There, you know what I mean?
Total aside, it's really funny when that guy talks in his actual voice, because like, he has like a nasally kind of voice.
Yeah, hello, it's, yeah, when I was playing Tony, what I thought to myself was, you know...
I keep moving it around where they're not talking about it.
Great actor, though.
I'll just, like, keep playing.
No, he's not, Scott. He's actually dead.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
He's actually dead
I'll
now,
just
so
have
he's
to, like,
no
keep
longer a
playing.
great actor. He's just a corpse.
Because I know if I move it around.
This thing have little appendages
Monday,
with little
guess who's on the
noodles
bus?
coming out of it.
Hold on.
That doesn't make that's fucking gross. You
That's
see
probably
what
what
I'm
makes you
saying?
itchy.
That's like how it burrows in, right?
I don't know, but yeah,
burrows
but what's with the little weird like spaghettis on it? You know, like these
Yeah.
little things coming out. Like, what's with that?
I don't even
Why does it
wanna
do
know.
that?
There's like our tendrils or
Yeah,
something?
they have like
I
these
don't
little
know.
weird
It's
things
gotta
that
have
kind
a
of
purpose, right?
are
Yeah,
on like
so
their
anyway,
exoskeleton.
Those Italian dudes we referenced earlier, they fucking discovered that the scabies were caused by this little microscopic thingamajig.
Okay, so scabies are caused by these little microscopic bugs. There's a picture of it, right? Yeah. Obviously, I could link you.
Obviously, bro.
I will link. I could share this episode
I
to
can
you.
look it up too.
Yeah. Do you have a day off Monday or Tuesday? Next week, I think next week's my birthday week, and I have my birthday and the 17th off. I'm pretty sure
Is
it's.
that coming up again?
Yeah.
Motherfuck.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday you just had your fucking.
I know. Now I'm about to
bro.
be a quarter century old. I mean, because what is it? The
I'm
10th right now?
almost half
Yeah.
a century old.
Oh, half. Yeah.
Well, if you really want to diagnose it, I've got like 20 years. So.
Oh yeah.
No.
I mean, you're more close to a quarter century than a half, but about. I mean, how old are you right now?
33 right now, so it's probably about what 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Probably like a year and some change.
And then it's just like a couple days for me until it's a quarter century for me, and then it will be another 25, and then it's a half century. Oh God, dude. You know, honestly, like that 25 years does actually seem like a long time considering the last 25, being a wee little lad. So it's like, I mean, it's not, but also time speeds up as you age, so it's like, fuck. There's that too. The next 25 are gonna go quicker than the first 25.
Hey.
Shit.
Fuck you, shut up.
I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. I'm reflecting because my birthday's coming up, so I'm having a moment of reflection about aging and time and cosmic
Hey, do you get your birthday
existentialism.
paid?
Huh?
Do you get your birthday paid?
I think so.
I get mine too.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, because I think
figured out-
that's part of like some of the
I figured
uni
out how much
venues.
my overtime is.
Hmm.
$23.19 an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my checks. So I think if I am correct, I should be getting paid tomorrow. Since I think I got 3 cycles of my checks. I should be getting like $500.
Nice.
No, not nice.
Well, 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 I mean, well, I guess because of the last
I can't spend it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that part isn't
I mean,
nice.
I can walk around wearing my mask, spending money, but I don't want to because that's gay.
Well, I mean, it's obviously health is more important than dealing with that shit. Honestly, in a way. So
Okay, but
At least-
food is health, so you would have to buy my food for me. Andrew, I need food.
who else usually is not
I
doing
know,
much?
I know. You brought me chicken. That's
Well,
perfect.
not even that, but like who else doesn't really do that much besides running errands for everybody as well.
Your
Usually.
dad, but giving my card to your dad is kind of like a bad thing to do. I'd rather trust you with my dad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go to Safeway anyway and pull money out.
Yeah.
I gotta get money. If you've noticed that, usually by the time that I have my check, I usually don't spend that much, but the last 2 checks I've spent close to all of them.
Yeah, I still have like
My
about.
last purchase fucking sucked.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, I had $400. I had to save $350 for my mom's phone.
Mhm.
Sarah found it at Target for $329. Figure this shit out. They said it would take 2 hours to get the phone. 2 hours.
Why so long?
Because it's fucking Target. Well, basically, we paid for the phone. You wait for the time for them to get it all out and shit like that. Target is so fucking understaffed. It took them a full day to get my fucking phone from my mom.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So that same day that Sarah remember that day I
Only
told
they
you that I went to work
paid workers
early?
properly.
Sarah picked me up and took me to work. And my boss wanted me there at like 10 o'clock. I'm like, I can be there at 11. He's like, alright, that's fine.
Yeah. Your boss is pretty fine with that as long as you communicate with him on that shit.
My boss hates it when I text him.
Here's
Because
a
I
look.
was telling him I was gonna not be at work. He's like, oh, don't call me, call the store. What the fuck, dumbass? It's the same fucking relaying bullshit.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing for our store. You're technically supposed to like call the store director and let him know and shit, so they can actually make sure it's in there.
I
That
don't call my store director. I have to call my boss.
yeah, I mean that's usually what I do first and let
Like,
him
I
know.
literally
But they
have-
always transfer me to the store director anyway.
Like, I literally have his personal fucking phone number.
Yeah. But I mean, same thing for our shit because our last dude who recently got hired but fired, called no show. But part of it was because he like called us more specifically instead of like the actual store, and it's like, dude, you're supposed to call the store up, because
Somebody get fired for the same fucking shit.
yeah.
No call, no show for like fucking 3 days. My boss is like, oh yeah, he's fucking fired. I'm like, what the fuck?
And honestly, for the dude that got fired, that were I honestly feel bad because like he's already struggling with like fentanyl and fucking
Was that the guy who just started?
yeah. And he also, from what I fucking understood, came back from rehab when he got his job, and like now he's pretty much having to go back again. From my understanding, like.
Was that the new guy you were telling me about? That
Yeah.
just got- Are you fucking kidding me? They fucking fired him for no call, no show?
Yeah, and I mean, because the new store director doesn't necessarily like really fuck around with, like different things like that. Which I mean, it's understandable, but it's just
Well,
like,
you've got to realize if
I mean,
somebody's trying to fucking struggle to get back on their feet, don't fucking screw
like,
them over.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I mean, it's just kind of like,
Check this shit out. My boss likes me so much that customers were complaining about me. That the way I talk to fucking customers. He literally looked at me and said, dude, I don't want to have to fucking suspend you for fucking 3 days. It's your last fucking chance to watch how you talk to customers. I got talked to it once before. He talked to me a second time this week, and he's like, hey, dude.
I mean, what
He's like, dude, I need you to...
I mean, what are you saying to customers for them to be complaining or some shit?
I don't fucking know. But if I get written up, that's a 3-day suspension.
Well, that's
And if I get a second one, it's an automatic fire.
just fucking kind of stupid, honestly.
So
That's
if
ridiculous.
if I get fired because of that shit, I'm literally gonna be like, you know what, fuck you guys.
I mean, no,
I'm
for real though,
talking-
that's ridiculous.
But this is how it fucking went. He's like, if you can't help a customer figure out what they need or where it is, I don't know anything about my fucking store at all.
Yeah.
I don't fucking go walk around my store. I literally go to work, talk to my customers, go on my break, go out and smoke, come back in, go to my hour lunch, smoke, come back in. There's people that fucking ask me, hey, do you know where this is? And I'm like, no, I work in the deli. I really don't know my store. I don't know where it is.
I mean, you're still relatively
I'm
new
still
there.
fucking new.
Yeah.
But
I guess people don't like the. What are you doing?
get the fuck down.
Excuse me, baby. What are you doing?
He's standing on your fucking table.
I know he is. You baby. Oh my god, you little blepping baby.
Well, it's because I'm not paying attention to him.
Oh, you're so little. Oh, you just want loves. Oh, look at you.
But
Oh,
I still think it's bullshit.
it is. Yeah.
Okay. How many times did people complain when I worked at City?
I don't really remember it that often. Probably.
Nobody did.
It's pretty rare, and even if it was, it's because they were legit being a Karen, and there's Karens that come into stores all the time, and I'm sure Freddy's evidently is no exception. It sounds like they have more Karens on. I mean, considering
Well,
Sadie's
see-
second, I'm assuming there's probably more fucking ornery
The
motherfuckers.
thing that you don't have, that we have, is we have customers come in that are doing Instacart.
No, we get that too.
Yeah, but do you get it every fucking day?
Yeah.
With the same person that comes in every fucking day?
Yeah, we usually do get a lot of people on Instacart and stuff. I mean,
We-
not like, probably maybe not, I wouldn't maybe say every day, but pretty.
We get a lady that comes in every fucking day.
Oh my god.
Non-stop. I literally see this lady walk into the store 5 or 6 times in one fucking day.
I mean,
Always coming
I mean,
on-
one of my friends, his brother, sometimes I'll see him come in like 3 or 4 times a day because he does the same shit. I think Uber.
They make less.
Oh yeah.
I literally told the guy that was doing Instagram, I'm like, dude, how much do you make? He's like, well,
I mean, they're like basically, honestly, a lot of what they really make is on tips and shit, for the most part, from what I understand.
yeah, well,
With,
I told him what TriMet's doing. TriMet literally had a $7,500
Yeah, no, actually,
bonus.
a lot of it might expire by the end of September, because of at the end of the emergency thing that Kate Brown did for the whole COVID shit.
What?
I was reading on it at the beginning of the stream a little bit about it, which I'm kind of like mixed bag with it because, like, you know, there's a lot of different things. Because from what I understand, there's like a equity law type of thing where unless like everybody at the company gets like, you know, like a retention bonus, you know, that's equivocal to, you know, a hiring sign up bonus with someone's hiring shit, something like that. I mean, the article I was reading wasn't like super detailed to it. I mean, it just kind of went on
They'll
a very
probably detail it later on.
yeah. They mainly detailed about like, you know, what, you know, mainly TriMet and the PPB were doing with their sign up bonuses and how they get affected. Which PPB, like, whatever, I don't really care much. But TriMet is like, yeah, that's
But
a little like
$23 a fucking hour.
yeah. Yeah, one thing I saw that was in the article too was that also with the sign-up bonuses, they're paid over time. They're not like all at once, which is a little fucked.
It's 2 halves.
Yeah, I mean, it should just be all at once, honestly, because, I mean, like, if...
People wouldn't go back to work, they get the sign-on bonus and fucking leave.
I mean, like, especially with, like, how inflation is, like, how long would, like, you know, that money really actually last? I mean, it's like, it might last for a little bit.
Couple months.
Yeah, but not that long, especially if, you know, a lot of people may have back rent, maybe like some student debt or meant to that, you know, like, I mean, at least, you know, if I, you know, if, like, at least how I'm thinking it, like, if I were to get it all at once, I would definitely be using that to, you know, maybe not necessarily for myself, but help out with my parents' medical bills and shit like that, maybe some vet bills, you know, for Lenny Sukov and shit like that, make sure he's all...
Well, weren't you the one who was talking about the, that they might be stopping the student loan thing?
Oh,
Like they're gonna cancel the student loan.
yeah, like they're like pretty much what they, you know, want to cancel is like barely fucking much at all, really, considering how much student loan debt there is in the country, and or at least, you know, with U.S. citizens and shit, and considering how absurd it is. Like, I mean, what I forgot the exact number, but it was like in comparison to how much there is, you know, in totality of student loan debt in the U.S., like it was pretty much like a drop in the bucket. Which I guess from, I mean, unless it was basically like just that in totality with all student loan debt, or people that had like that amount and less with student loan debt, but you know, I don't remember all the specific details right off the top of my head, but I think it was something like that, one of the two.
It was funny. When I was in the fucking waiting room, and once I got seen, the lady's like, "Do you smoke?" I'm like, "I vape." And then like the physician came in, he's like, "Do you smoke?" I said, "Yeah, I vape." Does nicotine count? He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "I got like phlegm in my fucking throat." He's like, "All right, well, I'll check your lungs and your heart." Check my lungs and heart. He's like, "Dude, you sound fine." And I was talking like this, like I really am. He's like, "Dude, you sound fine."
Well, I mean, I can tell your voice is a little different, but
My voice is crackly. It's usually if you have phlegm in your throat, it usually sounds like this.
yeah.
Like I said, I coughed up fucking 2 loogies yesterday, which is fucking disgusting. But no, it's kind of weird because I started coughing yesterday, I cough every now and then. Basically, what they told me is they're like, oh yeah, well you can use cough syrup, and I'm like, can I use like Tylenol or ibuprofen? They're like, yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't just give me one fucking pill that I can take once a day.
Yeah, it's like at
to
least
get rid of this
something.
shit. But I realized Sarah told me that if they catch it in the early signs, they can give you something that.
Yeah.
prevents it.
Little goofy stuff.
Oh, it got cold. Fuck. What? You fucking dingleberry.
Little sweet boy. And honestly, this entire fucking house needs to get goddamn flea bombed because Jesus Christ. It's like every time I get him totally cleaned off of them, they immediately come right the fuck back, and it's driving me fucking nuts. Because I don't like seeing them like.
What's driving me nuts is I didn't fucking find out about this until fucking yesterday.
I know, it's just like, what the fuck? It's like we're getting hit with like the 7 curses or some shit. Like we're getting hit with like the curses of Egypt.
Hey,
Like the pestilence, shall affect your livestock and your pets and your kin.
The only thing I've been thinking about is your dad, because the way he is.
Yeah.
If your dad gets it, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
I mean, as long as he just like, I guess.
He comes out, but he doesn't go anywhere near my area.
Yeah, he's always like just. He always stays in there in a more isolated area, and there's a fan in there when he turns it on, and it's just basically just like borderline, just like a nicotine fumigated smoke den. So,
Well, I'm not gonna fucking sit in the house and fucking vape.
Right? Yeah. Get a robot vacuum like Logan has. I mean, it's not really like a vacuum. Wait, what? I mean, it's not like. I mean, it's like we have a shop vac actually that we have,
I
but
think a vacuum would be easier.
yeah, but the thing is like that doesn't totally help. Like, I mean, flea bombing a place and then vacuuming up everything gotcha would probably be the better solution.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, but also I have
Nobody
to.
could be in the house when you fucking do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, how we normally did it, especially for all the pets, normally we'd either have like them all just in the garage and then just do the whole house with nobody here,
Or you just get stuff you put on the carpet that's like powdered.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Do
Yeah,
that and then vacuum it.
I mean, it works to an extent, but I mean, if they're already on a pet, or if you miss a spot, or if you have like your bed or some shit, like there's.
Flea bombing gets everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because this is starting to drive me fucking insane with, like, because, I mean, every now and then I'll see, like, 1 or 2 popping on my, like, pants and shit, and,
Well, see, that's the funny thing, is I've calculated from the garage door to where I usually lay down is about 6 feet.
it's probably maybe a little more, like,
A little bit more, but I'm also, when I came out to tell you the first
and
time,
also you're usually just kind of hanging out, just kind of chilling, and,
I'm just laying down. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't want to, I mean, if I lay down, I'll sleep for fucking close to fucking 10 hours.
yeah, you sleep a lot.
I sleep a lot when I'm sick.
Yeah.
And you notice that before.
I mean, I try to do too as well.
Well, the day that you were home, you still were up until like 1 or 2, but you didn't have to go to work the next day. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, he's not even fucking up, and his fucking alarm's gone off. It's like, dude, holy fuck, you are sick.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is the fucked up thing, is once I get my negative test, I have to go back to work, but I'm realizing that I sleep way too fucking much, and I'm gonna have to get back to the schedule.
Yeah.
See, if they don't pay me for the 5 days, I'm gonna be fucked.
Yeah, that's not gonna be good.
I'm literally gonna have to, it's basically gonna be like starting work all over again.
Yeah, pretty much at that point. Yeah, I definitely don't want that. Oh, look, pigs are working for Americans to attack trans people. Oh, yeah, with Keffels. No, yeah, I've heard about
What
that.
time is it?
It's like 12:09. But yeah, no, I've heard about this Keffels thing. Like, I don't know anything about Keffels. Apparently she's mostly, like, on Twitter, and does, like, Twitch streams every now and then and shit, but, like I said, I don't know too much about her. But, yeah, like, she pretty much had, like, a bunch of fucking far-right shitbags, swat her and shit, and then basically make, some crazy ass claim, that's obviously bullshit, and saying her name or address, to the police. And then she woke up with like a fucking rifle to her face and shit. I've heard like claims as well that she's also kind of a drama baiter a little bit, where she hypes up a lot of drama and stuff. But considering there's actual facts to this, and this is actual, like, there's straight up like news articles about this type of shit, this straight up is just like fucking, I mean I don't see what, like, is drama baity about this shit, you know what I mean? And it's just me not knowing who the fuck Keffels is at all. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, as long as it's not a Roomba. This is not a Roomba, so I'm okay.
Roomba?
Well, Amazon bought Roomba, so now Amazon's...
You mean the iRobot?
Yeah, that's now owned by Amazon, so now Amazon knows the layout of your house if you have a Roomba. And they also own a pharmacy company and a insurance company, and they also, have Whole Foods, so a grocery store too. And Alexa, so it's like they can listen in your house, they know the layout of the house now with Roombas, and they can potentially be your doctor or your pharmacist. Shit like that.
I was somewhere up in Vancouver. They're putting in a Whole Foods, and then we were also driving around, and they're also putting in like a big fucking warehouse. And I'm like, damn it.
Sounds like Amazon. The Amazon the global Amazon company nation.
Like it's gonna be like office building or something like that. And I'm like, God damn it, why am I not in construction anymore? No, dude, construction's fucking bank money.
Oh yeah.
Fucking,
I bet.
They make nothing under $18 an hour.
Oh yeah, for the shit they do. I mean, better get paid.
I did demolition.
I mean, fuck. I mean, better get paid more than that, honestly, as far as I'm concerned.
For like 2 weeks, dude, and I made fucking $1,000. What? Hopefully I don't have to go back to work. If I don't have to go back to work until Tuesday, I seriously want to watch my fucking show. This one's gonna be a good one too, because the guy that's supposed to be coming on the Sean Ryan show, he was over in Iraq. He got the side of his face blown off.
Damn.
It went, basically what he said, it went through his ear.
So what, he get shot, or?
Yeah, he got shot. Went through his ear, came out his face.
So, like, basically like kind of a cheek shot type of thing. Like, behind the ear type.
Broke his jaw.
Well, yeah.
From here to here. Out. From here, he just went poof.
Ow.
So now you can tell when he's looking, he doesn't have a real eye, it's glass eye.
Yeah.
You can tell it doesn't move. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, dude.
Man, that's a whole new level of lazy eye right there.
That's a whole new lazy as fuck, dude. You got fucked up.
Man.
But no, literally, there was a guy, his name's DJ, and he was on the Sean Ryan show, and he's talking about where they were when that guy got shot, is they were in a field full of like 6 feet fucking shit, and they literally intertwined arms, and were trying to walk to find the guy, to find one of the enemies. Literally, there was a guy with a fucking machine gun that just opened fire. Everybody just fucking crawled.
Yeah, well, that's basically a way to suppress fire and pin people down. When you just, like, start laying machine gun.
It was on the fucking military that they did it to. It was the enemy who had a fucking machine gun.
Well, yeah. That's what I mean, yeah.
Fucking shit. They just fucking dropped. Like,
damn.
Oh my fucking god. But no, the guy I'm talking about, he went through a lot of shit. Literally, that he was coming back on a mission, and he wrapped his arm around the fucking boat, the thingies that they have. I can't remember.
Like those little dingboat things.
Yeah, it literally popped his shoulder out.
Ow!
So he let go and wrapped his arm with this one,
and it popped out.
That one popped
out.
Ow! So he's just
got these loose dangling arms.
He's trying to drink water, and then the jet ski comes and gets him. Fucking pops this one out of place, and fucking pops the second one out, and he's just fucking floating. I'm like, damn, dude, you are fucked.
Dude,
But then
man.
check this out: is that they had to medical retire him because of both his shoulders and his hips.
Well, considering how messed up he got, yeah, I imagine you would have to.
But then he also got hooked on fucking
Opiates?
no pain medication.
Well, that's usually opioids.
It wasn't opiates.
Oh, it's just different type of
But
pain
they were
med.
saying, oh, you can't get addicted. And he was Sean. He's like, that's bullshit.
Well, evidently, yeah.
He was so fucked up, dude. Oh my god. He literally, you know how people usually how it's a brothership with like Marines and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
He literally lost one of his friends,
Well, yeah.
and he got a call from one of his buddies that said, "Hey, call me." He's like, "Are you sitting down?" He's like, "No." Should I be? He's like, Nick got hit. Nick got shot. And there was a long pause, and his buddy's like, "Is he okay?" No, he's dead. He literally broke down and fucking just started bawling.
Yeah.
And he was at dinner with his family. So he literally had to put a composure back on, just fucking straight face. Said he literally walked in, sat down to the booth, stared in between his uncles. His wife put her hand on his shoulder and said, "Tell me." He literally just fucking broke down and just started fucking bawling.
Damn, dude.
He
I
literally,
mean,
he's like, I love the fuck out of that guy.
yeah, it kind of makes me honestly kind of wonder about, like, you know, like Armando sometimes, too, and, like, you know, some of the other vets that kind of come from my store, too, because, I mean, I know they never really talk about it. Even Armando doesn't really mention it too much, even when he does openly talk about it. Like, he's mentioned how he's made really close friends, and there'll be times where they've gone out and never come back and shit. And it's just like, I mean, knowing him, especially how much of, like, you know, on the surface, he's always, like, you know, very
happy and cheerful, yeah.
yeah, and also kind of, you know, I'm willing to kind of, like, you know, tough it up and, you know, try to, you know, get along and deal with it later type of thing, so.
You see he's got demons, you can tell.
Yeah.
He's got demons. But you've also got to realize that guy that I'm talking about, he literally contemplated, he went into a physical therapy, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to kill myself or my wife. And he's contemplated about shooting himself.
Man, why get the wife in it though? Like, I mean, what the, like?
He didn't know. He literally contemplated sitting in his house and shooting himself.
I mean, I guess. I suppose. I mean, I guess thinking about it, if you're in that state, you wouldn't want her. Like, in his mindset, I guess, you know, especially if you're gonna think about that, you probably didn't want her to go for that trauma. So it's like, I might as well do her and then me, and then I would definitely do it because she's obviously gone, you know.
But he
so
also had a 3-month-old son.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things you keep yourself in the house, you're gonna fucking realize what the fuck.
Now that would have probably, yeah. I mean, it could have been turned real south. And and what's crazy is that there are like stories like that where you'll hear about, like, you know, a double murder suicide or a murder suicide situation where it's like a couple or like a, you know, a couple and their kid.
Or you just hear about the ones that are vets fucking overdose or vet committed suicide.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and a lot of them tend to be homeless when that shit happens.
There's a song by Five Finger Death Punch, Wrong Side of Heaven. Is it Wrong Side of Heaven or Wrong Side of Hell?
Probably Wrong Side of Hell.
It talks about vets.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Five Finger Death Punch, but I think I know the song you're talking about. I think it's one of their... I'm pretty sure it's a ballad song, isn't it?
It's off of, I think it's on, like, I Got Your Six.
Hmm. Hmm.
You got gummy worms as fortunes, didn't you?
Yeah.
Asshole.
Well, they were for camping, but I might as well snack on them now. I have Twizzlers, too, in that bag still.
The really good ones were the green apple licorice.
Green apple one?
Mm-hmm.
Not a big fan of green apples much.
Really good. They got a whole variety of fucking licorice.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, I will repay you for your sausage. I ate all of them.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about it too much. As long as it gets used.
They were good.
I bet they were.
Disgusting. I have one, Daddy.
I don't think you can have a gummy worm,
He can't have
Cop.
sugar.
I mean,
No, he can't have chocolate, but he can have white chocolate.
yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt him to have it, but he would go bouncing off the walls, and I don't want that.
No, he'd probably have like that rocket shit that you talked about last time.
Well, over one gummy worm. I have no more left. These are literally the last two. There ain't no way he's gonna, like...
Yeah, he will. Andrew's like, I'm gonna try.
No.
Andrew's like,
I mean,
shitting in my room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
he's actually been pretty good about it.
Okay.
He's actually been pretty good about, like, his, potty time and stuff.
I woke up to him. You know how my containers usually sit on my nightstand?
Come up, you bud,
I literally woke up to him licking my fucking bowl. And then I also woke up to him chomping down on my last hot fucking chicken strip.
Of course. Dude, I caught him eating a little bit of his pizza. Like, I dozed off for a minute, and I saw, when I opened my eyes, you literally were attempting to walk away with a piece of pizza.
Yes, he does that. He's very sneaky.
Yeah, you are a sneaky little bastard.
But you still love him.
Yeah, I love you, but hey, you're just a jerk sometimes. Oh, look at you. You and your shit-eating grin. Oh, look at you. You sweet baby. You're just a handsome boy. Yes, you is. Oh. You're just a handsome boy. Yes, you is. Oh, he's just a sweet thing. What? What are you pawing at me for? What you pawing at me for, you sweet baby? You want a little of this? Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, look at you. Look at you. Look at you. There you go. He wasn't sure what to do at that point. He's like, I didn't expect to get it that easily.
If you want to react to something, since I know you're on YouTube, type in the Sean Ryan Show on your other thing you can look up, and go to the Blackwater Massacre.
Well, I know about that.
You can he's actually talking to the people who actually...
Yeah, I think you told me about that once.
Yeah. And then the newest one that came out was pretty cool too. The new one. I think the new one you want to watch because the guy who got shot.
Yeah, I'll probably check that one out.
That's on Monday the 15th.
Oh, day before my... Yeah, okay, well, yeah.
If you want to watch it, I would watch it. It sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not getting shot, but...
Well, see, yeah, obviously I imagine the whole getting shot part of the story is not cool, but at least, hearing his experience would be probably kind of cool to,
I mean, they go through...
Yeah.
Where he was born, why do you want to join the military, and then they go into what he thought of it, all shit like that.
Yeah.
What are you chewing on?
Oh, I gave him a little treat. A little, like...
You little hellion?
So, it's one of these things.
Oh.
It's like a little Twister Roll, rawhide jerky thing.
Have you figured out where Carl's has been for the last 3 weeks?
What?
Have you figured out where Carl's has been for the last 3 weeks?
Yeah. No, I've seen it. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that Blackwater thing before, and honestly, I'm just like, eh. It's just like, yeah, let me hear some actual war criminals, talk about their experience and paint it in a way that doesn't sound like it's a crime at all. Like, okay. I mean, it's just like, I know very well and clear about what that massacre was about, and I'm just like, nope. Just definitely, I'm just like, I'd probably have some strong words on that one. At least just for myself. Though the other story I was talking about, that one seems kind of interesting a little bit. But, I mean, that's why I'm just, like, so fundamentally against, like, PMCs and shit, like private military corporations. Just it's like the fact that that is a thing in itself is just like, what? I get that they're pretty much like a remnant of like the mercenaries, you know, of like Whale Yonder and shit, but it's like I think that need not apply anymore. Whether it's American based or anything else and shit, because I know there's also Wagner Group and shit, because they're doing some pretty much the equivalent of Blackwater stuff out in Ukraine, which that's always nice. And they're officially not a company. They're actually not even officially a thing either, even though they are. So let that bake your noodle. But pretty much like a private military corporation, it's just like, yeah, we just gotta do stuff like, you know, a nation's military does, but we just gotta have like a little bit more leeway to just kind of get away with war crimes and no one gives a fuck. Yeah. I mean, especially with Blackwater, considering how like a lot of, especially the founders, are like religiously fanatical as fuck. So, I mean, it's just like a lot of it tends to be not just like, oh yeah, we're just like vets that, you know, still want to like, you know, see the front, but, you know, for whatever reason couldn't, you know, continue with our, you know, official service, but still want to go out there and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. It's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's like, okay, sure, buddy. Well, the only time I feel like I'm more like, you know, like pro like vet when it comes to like it with, you know, everything considered and shit, is just when I have like, you know, these dork motherfuckers and shit like Bad Empanada. They're just like, oh, veterans are just like, you know, robbers and fucking, you know, just criminals, you know, just from the start, and fuck them no matter what, like even if they're homeless or impoverished or suffer from PTSD and shit. It's like, nah, they can go fuck themselves no matter what, and I hope they actually like, you know, indulge the suffering that they do and shit. It's like, and all this other garbage, and it's like, what? Because, like, you got different vets who are, you know, part of the Blackwater Massacre and shit, or war criminal motherfuckers, but then there's plenty of people, like, you know, like, people I know, especially, and vets, you know, I've seen, you know, come and go in my workplace and shit, let alone just out in public, that are far from the contrary of being, like, some imperialist, like, soldier that's, you know, fucking, you know, taken from the toils of war that, they're exploiting, you know, around the world. It's more or less, you know, people get exploited from that shit, let alone the other way around. Because it works both ways. It's like, that shit's a two-way street. It's worse, you know, on one side of it, but that doesn't mean it's bad on the other. Because one side's a victim of the fucking imperial industrial complex, when it comes to their country getting invaded and fucked. But the scars and the trauma and, you know, the people being forgotten and fucked over here back at home when they, you know, do their time over, you know, seas for whatever fucking stupid gobbledygook reason to get bought into, or for desperation or whatever have you. It's just like, that's just like, nah, they could go fuck themselves. Especially for someone like Bad Empanada, it's like really easy for him to say it, you know, being a fucking Euro-Greek fuckball. Even though his country's an impoverished shithole as it is right now, it's like, you know, I never hear a peep about, like, you know, problems that, you know, he as a leftist, you know, could do in fucking well, I don't even think he is, honestly, when it comes to being on the left and shit. But nonetheless, it's like, I mean, if you really did care about leftism and shit, you'd probably, you know, be doing a lot of advocacy in your own fucking country, considering how shitty it is, and how impoverished and, you know, corrupted it got. But no. You rather, you know, like, condescend and dictate what American leftists, you know, ought to be and what they ought to not be and shit. It's like, go fuck yourself. Like, clean out the Euro trash in your own fucking country before you start talking about the American trash here, bitch. Why didn't you let us American leftists, you know, worry about, like, the MIC here and shit? Because we are the ones that have more of a voice than you, Bad Empanada. Dumb fuck. Can I help you? Yes, baby. What? I'm sorry if you start, like, climbing up on this table again, bro. Right here. Oh, there we go. Here. I realized I don't have much music in the background. And my roommate pretty much, like, derailed, you know, like, we're pretty much wherever we're going initially for our previous combo. Either way. Here, check out the Humans Report, maybe. Oh, Facebook is doing something disgusting. That's nice. Facebook gives Nebraska cops a teen's DMs to prosecute her for an abortion. Wow. Wow. Well, this doesn't sound like a shitty situation whatsoever.
Conversations related to big tech and the threat that they potentially pose to us usually pertains to conversations about arbitrary or illegitimate bans on social media, but one element of big tech that most people don't really focus on is the threat that these social media giants pose to our privacy. Now, one story is perhaps the most Orwellian story I've seen yet with regard to big tech and the way that they handed over information to the government to prosecute a teenager for having an alleged illegal abortion. Now, we're not going to get too much into the details of the abortion story itself. I've shared stories from women who have gone through abortions and have had unfortunate experiences. I think that this particular story really highlights the tech elements and the need for you to protect your data. If you are a woman, this story, I hope, gives you the...
It's my friend, it's Rape State doesn't know. I guess both. I guess he's on it now, but like both, honestly. Fucking trapezoid looking motherfucker. Stop jerking your Ouroboros. I'm sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, man. I'll try to do better. Yeah, my friend Ripsy is actually a little confused. I sent him a post of Badnev and all this leftist from Greece and shit that basically, like, here, hold on. I can actually probably find this motherfucker. Just literally doing this. Hold on. Let me just, like, I think I saw him a minute ago. Oh, shit. Well, okay, maybe not. I have a weird feeling it probably will pop up, though. Chances, especially with these community posts, they always like to pop up in between the shit. Okay, maybe not. Alright, well, whatever. I'm gonna have to look his dumb fuck ass up. It's not this channel, it's gonna be his fucking goddamn second one. Anyway, it's not this, it's this. Yeah, I'm an American leftist. I want free healthcare, free college, legal weed, and great jobs for all Americans, especially, parentheses, especially veterans. And I'm completely on board with maintaining our global warmongering interference as long as I get my share of the spoils. Like, this stupid dumb fuck. And also, he made this post too. For every homeless veteran, there are 10,000 people's homes in the U.S. military destroyed. Which, and like as those 2 points, you know, are supposed to like mean anything. The tragic war is not the perpetrators; they didn't get enough of the spoils. Like, which is also implying that homeless veterans, you know, are just, you know, people that still got their spoils of war and they deserve their homelessness and shit. Like, this guy's just honestly, like, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, just like some fucking Greek, the fucking right-wing psyop fucking bitch. Like, he basically's like, oh, you know, basically leftism for me, but if you basically work for the American military, then you can literally go fuck yourself, and I'll basically act like, you know, a tribalistic shitbag. And also considering in a country that it lives in and how destitute and impoverished that it is, like, you think this worthless fuck would actually, you know, maybe talk about, you know, some of the problems, you know, going on in his own country from a leftist perspective, but no, he'd rather do this stupid shit. Dumb, worthless motherfucker. Like, honestly, like, this dude's been getting on my gears lately, because for some reason his stupid shit keeps getting recommended to me. Because, like, there's, like, another one or some shit. Where was it? Okay, he made a bunch of other dumbass posts, you know. Okay, here's one. This is the one that really got me going, like, one day. I was doing it from the other day, quote, leftist veterans don't actually think they did anything wrong. They still think they are just as special for willingly sign up to be an imperialist hitman as right-wingers do. They just think they should have got more out of the deal. Whose? Bad empanada? Like this dumb, worthless fuck? Like, I mean, this dude lives in Greece and shit, and, you know, wants to, like, crow about, like, you know, American leftists basically being, like, you know, these imperialists defending warmongers or some shit because, you know, God forbid we actually, you know, care about homeless veterans and, you know, people that, you know, are suffering out in the streets, basically. And actually maybe, you know, making sure that people that, you know, are also traumatized and fucking have, you know, the horrors of war reflected on them, you know, being perpetrators of it and, or victims of it. It's just like, what, you think, you know, for every Chris Kyle, like, every single, like, what, like, the rest of them are? Like, oh, you get, like, one Blackwater massacre and, like, what, pretty much the entire, like, every single motherfucker in the U.S. military is the equivalent of that? Never heard of him. Well, you probably are doing yourself, you know, favors. Because I've heard of this guy before and shit. And for some reason, I don't know why it keeps getting recommended. I think because I watched a Jon Stewart thing and was going into that. And then this guy recommended me because of it. Because obviously, I mean, he's on the post and shit like that. But, I mean, honestly, some of the comments are even worse. Like, it's not necessarily the posts that get me. It's these fucking I don't even want to get into it again, because I swear to God, like, that like, I'm gonna say shit that I'm definitely not gonna exactly approve of, even for myself. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, because a motherfucker like that would just basically be like, oh, you know, like, basically let this for me, but not for thee, you know, because you support, like, veterans or something. It's like, go fuck yourself. It's like, I know plenty of them, you know, in my own workspace and shit that are not like some, you know, hitman for the Imperial Industrial Complex or the Military Industrial Complex or whatever the fuck. Like, they weren't some, like, imperialist hitman. If anything, a lot of them have broken away from it because of being a goddamn veteran. So it's like, what, like, where's this stupid shit? I mean, it's so easy for him to, you know, talk from a heavily impoverished, you know, cucked, corrupted, fucking bankrupted country of Greece and shit, you know, in his weird asshole broken down garbage tower that's looking like ivory, even though it ain't. It's just like, you know, so easy for him to speak there when he doesn't know the American experience about how exploited, you know, people are domestically, are fucked here. Easy for him to, you know, say about it when he doesn't know the real experience about it. I feel like Greece once had some authoritarian that spread territory through extreme violent means. Alexander, I believe his name was. Yeah. No, yeah, it did. That was a long time ago. Yeah, we could dig deep. Yeah. It's like, if I want to fuck on, you know, him and his country and shit, like, there's so many different things that, like, basically, like, you know, a lot of his country's culture and heritage was built up on shit like, you know, goat fucking and shit. You know, so, I mean, it's like, I mean, you can see that in some of their ancient architecture, like, dead ass. So, I mean, you know, like, he wants to cry about, like, you know, America and their bullshit, then, oh, let's start crying about, you know, Greece and their shit there, buddy. That's it. It could go both ways. Two-way street, motherfucker. And I'm not even, like, you know, some fervent hyper-pro-vet guy, but, like, you know, I understand that there's nuance when it comes to veterans, and that there are veterans that, you know, legit probably are a piece of shit. You know, there are, like, Chris Kyle, you know, and the like. But for every one of them, there's like 100 more that, you know, are more scarred and broken. If anything, you know, don't buy into the shit anymore because of the, you know, shit they saw. So, you know, it's not really because of what they did. A lot of them don't do the shit that, you know, they saw. If anything, a lot of chances they probably get reprimanded if they, you know, try to challenge it or call it out. Because of how normalized it is within the system. It's like, well, we're going to just judge everyone. Oh. It's like, well, we're just going to, like, judge everybody else, you know, for the fault of the entire system. It's like the equivalent of like a vegan saying, "Oh, I'm not going far enough because I advocate for, major reforms for the, animal industry or the mass animal agriculture industry, but I still eat meat." It's like, "Oh, you're not going far enough. You're not a real lefty type of person because you're not going vegan or some shit." It's just like, fuck you. It's like, I mean, it's like, well, it says who, bitch? It's like, good lord. It's just like more holier than thou, like puritanistical bullshit, more than anything. And honestly, at least for that guy earlier from Bad and Omni, at least the likes of him and shit, and the people that perpetrate this same shit, they're just people just trying to stir more discord and more infighting and just, basically cause, more division amongst people or on the left and shit. I mean, there were similar things that happened during the Vietnam War, too. I mean, where there were leftists who were like, no, fuck all the Vietnam vets because they're all like, massacring these villages and blah, blah, blah. But not every single one of them were doing that shit. And then, at the same time, there's plenty of leftists that recognize that. And, and also a lot of them were veterans themselves. But yeah, there's, always like some weird little, like, niche little echelon of them where they'll be like, no. It's like, how dare you? Coach is not much younger than mine. Well, exactly. Well, unless you count in American history, that means post-European migration from British America. Yeah. True Scotsmen, leftists. They were drafted, didn't they understand? Yeah. There's also that, too. So, like, especially at least, during Vietnam, it's like, I think the last war where there was a draft going on. So, it's like, there's also that as well. I mean, because there was at least, it wasn't, like, as severe, because a lot of it was more, like, right-wing propaganda type bullshit, where, like, oh, yeah, there was, like, anti-war lefties that were spitting on vets and shit, and it's, like, bullshit. Maybe, like, an isolated scenario here and there, but as, like, an actual trend, no. Like, I mean, there was definitely some bullshit, in there, but there was definitely lefties that, well, not even necessarily lefties, because it's like, if you're literally gonna, like, disregard someone's humanity because, they happen to be a victim just in a different way of the whole imperialist fucking war game and shit, then it's like, are you really? Because you're disregarding their humanity because of your weird tribalistic bent? It's like, fuck you, bro. You pho, bro? You pho, bro? Oh, goddamn, that is some good looking pho. Holy shit, that is some quality pho right there. I probably would do a little more broth in there, like a little more soup broth, but goddamn, that is some quality right there. Maybe it's like a deep bowl dish, though. Looking fine right there, tell you what. Anyway. Didn't mean to get stoned with bad empanadas garbage. I was actually wanted to get into this, the Nebraska cops, because they're also shitbags. Just for more legitimate ways.
To delete your social media apps that aren't protected using
Here, hold on. We'll actually go back a little bit to kind of restart.
threat that these social media giants pose to our privacy. Now, one story is perhaps the most Orwellian story I've seen yet with regard to big tech and the way that they handed over information to the government to prosecute a teenager for having an alleged illegal abortion. Now, we're not going to get too much into the details of the abortion story itself. I've shared stories from women who have gone through abortions and have had unfortunate experiences.
I'm honestly kind of thankful that he isn't, because honestly, a lot of these stories are fucking horrific. Like, I don't know a lot of the details of the 10-year-old girl from Ohio and shit, and I'm actually very thankful and so happy that, she was still able to get that, in Indiana, but still, nonetheless, she had to go through a bunch of fucking bullshit to do so. I mean, it's like, I don't even want to know that. It's just like, I've already heard like 2 or 3, and that's enough, because it's like, it's fucked. Like, I mean, it's just like fucking, it's just fucked and gross. I mean, not because, like, oh, it's just like, but, I mean, because of, like, what the fuck, these women are having to go through, and the legit, not just the trauma, but the actual, like, biological, like, grossness that, comes from that can cause an infection and kill her, and then kill the woman. And like in pretty much most of these stories that I've heard from are from women that want kids and that are wanting to have like, you know, family and shit. It's not even like, you know, women who don't want kids and, you know, whatever the fuck. It's like, you know, with these, you know, with these Taliban USA Christo-fascist motherfuckers and shit, they basically are just like, oh, well, you know, hey, we're pro-life, and we get to, but, you know, hey, we get the right to choose. And, you know, with that, they're actually harming, you know, the people they're trying to protect, you know, versus, you know, people that they don't, you know, when it comes to this shit. It's like, what? It's like, at this point, I think I've heard more stories from people that are, quote, or like, you know, families and like, you know, and women that they're trying to quote unquote protect when it comes to like up and coming mothers, or like, you know, women who want you know, their children and want to go with their pregnancies but can't for mainly medical reasons. It's just like it's just disgusting. And frankly, every motherfucker is a politician, not just like, you know, pushing it legislatively, not just the Supreme Kangaroo Court either, but like every fucking politician and every goddamn motherfucker in government that is not just advocated this shit, you know, or, you know, putting in legislation, but like, I mean, but straight up just even supporting it, just advocating it, just vocally, should just be fucking arrested and shit for the, you know, for whatever crimes, you know, can be charged for the abuse and, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, fucking torture that, you know, women all over this country are now having to go through because of this garbage fucking shit. Like, every single one of them. Like, if there's one thing that I think is, quote, accidentally based from all these MAGA chuds that are fucking freaking the fuck out over Trump's little shit at his Mar-a-Lago fucking compound, is that, like, yeah, oh, yeah, we should, like, you know, do FBI raids on, like, all these motherfuckers and everything, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, yeah, mainly you motherfuckers, but, yeah, not the way you think. I mean, it's like, I agree, just not in the way those motherfuckers think, like Crowder and Candace and all these other fucking Christo-fascist freaks. It's like, yeah, because, especially if I had my way, they'd be knocking on their doors. I suppose, I mean, you know, the people crowing about it are not necessarily politicians. Well, there are politicians that are, but, you know, they would be the one getting this jail key thrown away. Because it's like, as far as I'm concerned, they're complicit in the fucking torture and abuse and neglect that, you know, these women are having to go through. Every single one of them. And they should all be, you know, charged as accomplices to, you know, all of this shit, you know, as, you know, which each individual woman has to suffer for this shit. Which, you know, all in all, if you add up all the charges with that, it would add up to a long fucking time. I'm sure we'd be all okay with that. It's like when you criticize people they like and they try to bring up Obama or Biden or some other neo-lib you spawn, fuck them too, and their smoke starts to come out of their ears. You know, for real though. Because honestly, it's just like, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like when they want to freak out and be like, yeah, we're going to start prosecuting these motherfuckers. It's like, yeah, go for it. Go do it. Yeah, fine. You know what? That'll be like the accidental base thing that your fucking side of the aisle might do. All in all. But the problem is, I just know that would include people like you, me, and all the other different lefties and shit in between. Like, that's kind of the problem with it, which is kind of why I'm a little, you know, that type of, you know, prepared just in case and shit with these fucking crazies. I mean, it's like a friend, like, literally just because this whole Trump raid, there's a whole chunk of them that are literally, like, decrying for civil war again. Like, I mean, it's like they're begging for it. It's like they legit just are waiting for, like, the excuse and waiting for, like, the moment to strike with this shit. It's like at this point. I mean, especially as a leftist, you'd be kind of foolish to not be kind of at least, you know, like, prepare for the worst in that sort of circumstance. I mean, just straight up, because it's like they are literally looking for any fucking excuse to do it. And because they're a bunch of criminal thugs, or a bunch of, you know, gangsters and shit. They always want to cry about, like, oh, if these black people would just follow the law, and blah, 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 blah. And, oh, if they just would stop stealing and stop acting like a bunch of criminals, like, and all this shit. But yeah, they're the biggest bunch of fucking criminal thugs that happen to be around and shit. fucking trying to do a little coup, fucking, like trying to kidnap governors, like, out in Michigan and shit, having terroristic organizations misguide as militias and shit, fucking terrorizing people in the streets. It's like, and with my experience, got some motherfucker with literally a t-shirt that says "Get some 88 in your life," stealing a bunch of shit from my store. Like, they're a bunch of criminal thugs and a bunch of white trash, gangster criminals. That's all they are. They're a bunch of criminals, they're a bunch of thugs, and they're trash. And they want to say that, like, oh, these minorities, these immigrants, and, these lefty woke groomers and shit are the criminal, freaks and shit, that want to, try to destroy everything and sow chaos. And yet these are the same motherfuckers doing all this shit. It's all projection with their fucking ass. It always has been, frankly. Like it was with the literal Nazis when they were decrying cultural Bolshevism and shit. Like, I mean, and now it's cultural Marxism. Or just woke leftism. It's woke. It's all woke. Which at this point, like, woke, as far as I'm concerned, means, like, anything that is, for the most part, generally good and generally has a overall benefit for society in some way, shape, or form that conservatives or people on the right vehemently despise. That's basically is what woke means to me now. So anything that is, quote, woke to conservatives and people on the right is just something that is, just, you could just assume that is, for the most part, either, like, negligible at worst and probably legitimately, like, good for people and good for society at best, in some way, shape, and form. Like, negligible at worst, actually, good and positive for society and people and culture and, economically or whatever the fuck, it's just like, that's just what it means. It's just like anything that's actually, either just meh or good, for people, whether like economically, culturally, otherwise, it's just woke, to these far right conservatives and shit. Like, cause that's just from what I understand, especially from these fucking freaks when they cry about wokeness, that's just what I'm like, okay, what's woke? When they freak out what's about, about what's woke this day, let alone, for the next week and shit. And I see what it is, and it's literally either something that's just like nothing and not even worth crowing about, or something that's actually okay and good or somewhat positive. It's like, alright, even if it's just like barely anything, where it's like, oh, it's like a half measure thing, or like a quarter measure, like virtue signal. It's like, it's okay. I mean, this is bad how? But it's woke, so it's bad. It's just like, back in the day, it was just cultural Bolshevism, and now it was cultural Marxism, and now it's just woke. Woke. It's like they're shortening it down less and less, as time goes on, and it's still not selling. Imagine being so racist, sexist, or usually both, that you'd rather see policies around that instead of your basic human needs met. This basically is just like, I mean, that's essentially is what I see, honestly, when people cry woke. Is that they would rather be so, like, entrenched in their fucking bigoted ways, whether being racist, sexist, or otherwise, or both, or usually a combination of whatever the fuck, that, they'd rather be in that versus actually having something that would legitimately benefit them. Whether it's like, like, I was seeing like the CPAC Rick Scott speech where it's like, they want you to wokeify your healthcare, make it woke, and they want to wokeify your education, and he was just pretty much putting like woke in everything. Like, and it's just like, it pretty much, that's where I had the opinion. It's like, it just basically means things that are either like good or negligible at worst, and it's just what they hate. It's just like anything that's that, and they just despise it. I mean, wokeify Bezos. They already think he's woke. I mean, they already think he's like some, weirdo fucking woke, like, tard bag or whatever the fuck. But, I mean, at least that's kind of, I mean, not for being woke, but at least, they hate him for different reasons, but at least it's agreeable. Wokeify Rick Scott, spray paint his hair purple. I was gonna say, like, really, what hair, and now we're like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, give him, like, some purple hair, like, Karen wig or something. Make him woke. Anyway, but here, let's get more into this thing. Speaking of woke. Got, you know, this woke teenager trying to get one of these woke abortions. Law and Order had to step in and do things right.
Really highlights the tech element and the need for you to protect your data. If you are a woman, this story, I hope, gives you the incentive to...
Hold on, one more pause. It might be $5,000 and my organs may be shutting down because my type 2 diabetes. And I couldn't afford because I haven't gotten a raise in 5 years. It's about working 60 hours a week. But at least I triggered the libs. At least I triggered those libs. And by the way, capitalism's really the best thing in the world, even though it's fucking me over. Yeah, that's right, brother. Woo!
Media apps that...
They claim to hate basis, but then support policies that make basis and co even more incredibly wealthy. And honestly, I wish I have a worker like that. I have a dad like that. But, I mean, like, honestly, it's not even that, like, Bezos is trying to get more wealthy. Like, honestly, at this point, like, he's, like, a motherfucker that is actually trying to gain, like, and have global power. Like, that motherfucker, like, I mean, when it comes to Amazon and Jeff Bezos, like, there needs to be utter obliteration and total destruction of both of these entities. Because, like... that dude is literally trying to do anything and everything under his power to essentially make, like, the whole company town, but just, like, global. And basically making, you know, the United Amazon, you know, like the United Corporations of Amazon, basically. Because, I mean, especially with a lot of his acquisitions and even a lot of antitrust bust researchers and shit like that, and, like... I mean, especially with the whole Roomba iRobot acquisition, like that's like the most dangerous, you know, form of the acquisition so far to date by Amazon, considering the power they already have, and it's fucking insane, especially of how exploitative they are. They have their own, like, robotics research and development company that they've bought and acquiesced. I mean, like, it's like, I mean, to say that Amazon needs to be utterly obliterated is a fucking understatement. Like, just straight the fuck up.
More encrypted apps like Signal, and also delete your period tracking apps if you still use them. These are very popular, but these can be used to potentially prosecute you in the event you are accused of having an illegal abortion. So let's go to Vice for the story. They write, a 17-year-old girl and her mother have been charged with a series of felonies and misdemeanors after an apparent medication abortion at home in Nebraska. The state's case relies on evidence from the teenager's private Facebook messages obtained directly from Facebook by court order.
Private?
Which show the mother and daughter allegedly bought medication to induce abortion online and then disposed of the body of the fetus. While the court documents obtained by Motherboard allege that the abortion took place before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June, they show in shocking detail how abortion...
How about merge Amazon shipping and logistics with USPS and abolish arrests? I'm fine with that. I mean, when it comes to Amazon being utterly obliterated, I mean, it's just like, whatever, like... logistics and groundwork, you know, are left over, obviously merge that in, you know, into at least the public utilities that they can be merged into. So, like, with Amazon's shipping and logistics and warehouses and shit like that, immediately merged into the USPS, and funding for that is immediately accounted for and shit like that, and so on and so forth, you know. So yeah, that would be kind of my, you know, part of the idea about, like, utterly obliterating the fuck out of Amazon, because as far as I'm concerned, it needs to go beyond just, you know, trust busting Amazon. Like, it just needs to go beyond that.
Prosecuted in the United States, and how tech companies will be enlisted by law enforcement to help prosecute their cases. Jessica Burgess is charged with 5 crimes, 3 felonies including perform/attempted...
5?
abortion at greater than 20 weeks, perform abortion by non-licensed doctor, and removing/concealing a dead human body. Celeste is charged with 1 felony, removing/concealing/abandoning dead human body, and 2 misdemeanors, concealing the death of another person and false reporting. She's being tried as an adult. Some details of the case were earlier reported by the Lincoln Journal-Star and Forbes. Motherboard is publishing the search warrants and court records that show specifically how the case is being prosecuted. A jury trial is scheduled for October. Now, this case, unfortunately...
This is utterly fucking barbaric. Like, this is quite literally goddamn barbaric. Like, what the actual fuck? I mean, this is basically what the Supreme Kangaroo... Like, this, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, like, I mean, the Supreme Kangaroo Court needs to be utterly abolished, and as far as I'm concerned, every single one of them fucking... Outside of the new one, you know, like, that got put in, you know, under Biden, whatever the fuck, outside of her, like, the rest of them should just be fucking put in prison and the key locked away. Like, I mean, in, like, some safe somewhere in another location that's not even on the same prison compound, as far as I give a shit. Like, I mean, this is just, like, I mean... like, like, animalistic doesn't even describe it. Oh, those cops get eggs thrown at them and rocks, mostly rocks. I was thinking of some other more metallic compounds and other metallic things in the periodic table. I wish I had a periodic table, because then if I was able to look at it, then I can just name the number on the periodic table. I was thinking lead, but I don't know the number of the periodic table. I think it's what, like 8, 6, somewhere around there. I think it's like an even number. I don't know. I'm rusty with my periodic tables. Okay, go away. Let's go. Needs to best at 114. Is lead really that? Okay, never mind. Well, no, wait, no, that don't sound right. Definitely not 86 Lamau. Well, it ain't 114. That don't sound right either. So, like, don't. Oh, yo. Got me periodic table. Cool. Phosphorus, sulfur, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Where is it? It's somewhere, like, if I remember, it's, like, somewhere around up in this bitch. Yeah, A is oxygen, there's sulfur, carbon, germanium, tin, blah, 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 blah. Where the, what in the fuck? Where is it? What the fuck? Is it actually really this far down? No way. Okay, where the fuck? Am I just being blind right now? You just missed it twice? I just missed it? Well, name the number. If I'm missing it, oh, there it is. Lead. There we go. It's 82. It's hard to read. Yeah, well, I mean, goddamn. Well, I found it now. It's right there. There we go. Yeah, anyway. That's what I recommended instead of rock. Instead of rock, where it's all sorts of different, like, mineral composites and shit, I just recommend just the raw, like, good old, you know, atomic, you know, 82, you know what I mean?
With this family, the mother states that they have $400 to their name. So it was difficult for them to obtain an attorney, but it seems like they do.
I got 6 and 8, right? Well, it makes sense for you to be a little bit more up and up with that versus me. Like, it's been a while. Why does PB start with L? Because fuck you. Yeah, because fuck you, that's why.
Now, other alarming details about this story. Celeste, she told police that she had a miscarriage. They did not believe her, and then they decided to issue a search warrant to Facebook. And, you know, even if she wasn't being truthful about the miscarriage that she was having in this instance, just the fact that they continued to pursue this teenager after she told them that she had a miscarriage is very frightening, because women have miscarriages all the time, and this is why doctors are so apprehensive about performing procedures to remove the dead fetuses from these women, because they don't want to be charged with potentially performing an illegal abortion on a live fetus. So, and I've talked about...
this is basically all because, you know, the Supreme Kangaroo Court decided to be a bunch of barbaric fucking savage, like... amoebas. I mean, because honestly, calling them, like, you know, a bunch of fucking savage animals doesn't even fucking quantify it. Like, this is what happens when, you know, they decide to be like, nah, let's just like overrule like half a century of precedent, you know, now we're just gonna let, you know, women go back to barbarism when it comes to trying to deal with the shit and criminalize them and their fucking bodies. Like, you know, because, oh, well, you know, just having the state figure it out, you know, is just gonna work out and shit. Well, now women are basically having to, like, unironically, you know, borderline torture themselves psychologically and otherwise, you know, for it. So, yeah, good job. Nice.
If I sound like a broken record, but I think that these details are really important. What doctors may do is just decline services to a woman who needs to remove the fetus after having a miscarriage, or have that woman provide them with a multitude of evidence. Make sure that in the event a cop chooses to pursue them, they can protect themselves. But even if they are shielded from, you know, legal culpability and won't be arrested for this, having to defend yourself could bankrupt you, as this family is learning. Now,
if they barely have like $500,000 to their name, yeah, they're gonna get bankrupted really fucking quickly. It's all about power control. They consider a natural thing a miscarriage as counter to their moral puritanism and want to punish those who seek its opposition. Yep. Women should seriously get the fuck out of states that ban abortion. Women leaving all masses sending huge messages to tank economies in the states. Yeah. I mean, the problem is that, like, you know, a lot of these women don't necessarily have the financial means to do that. I mean, that's kind of the fuck thing about it. Like, I mean, it obviously would be probably in their best interest to get the fuck out, but I mean, for a lot of, you know, I mean, maybe not like a lot, but there's, you know, plenty of women in various states, you know, in these areas that don't really necessarily have the means to, like, you know, for this case, like, they definitely, I mean, if they only have $400 to name, like, there ain't, I mean, it's like, how the fuck they're gonna be able to move? I mean, it's like, they barely got shit to their own name. Liberal states providing relocation assistance. I agree too, yeah, absolutely. It's just that, it's just not in place. I mean, if they were in place, I think it would be a lot easier to be like, yeah, get the fuck out. Like, here's the states that are offering, you know, relocation assistance. You know, but it's just like, because of these things, they're just left out to dry. Women are just left out to be fucked on their ass, basically, and be like, oh, you know, you might be able to potentially, like, you know, move if you have the means and financial income and abilities to do so. But if not, well, tough shit. You're just kind of stuck in the state that you're in. I mean, it's just like, and I honestly do hope that, you know, there are states that are, or at least governors that are potentially being like, hey, let's probably look into this type of shit, because, I mean, because honestly, it's, I don't know if there has been stories yet, but if not, then it's going to be not long until we're going to hear about stories of how women are starting to fucking die because of this shit. Like, some of the stories I've heard already, the few that I have, I mean, it already sounds like, I mean, it's like borderlining, you know, like some of these women are already about to die and shit. Like, it pretty much took them, you know, getting near death, you know, for them to actually get, like, any actual fucking treatment. Only alone, no thought. They should be throwing a solitary confinement for extra spice. If the email care I say give it to them, only enough to keep them alive and conscious as long as possible. Have you seen a wilting flower? Yep. No entertainment for them whatsoever. Only alone with their own thought. Yeah. Pretty much, especially for the Supreme Kangaroo Court. And Clarence Thomas, too, especially, because fuck that rat. That rat, racist, fucking Nazi motherfucker. You know, interracial marriage for me, but not for thee, bitch. It's like, you especially, you fucking old crone fucking filth. It's like, ugh.
At 28 weeks, allegedly. And that's legal in half the country. So this cop is pursuing her. He doesn't know for sure at the time when he obtains this search warrant for Facebook whether or not she was truthful about her having a miscarriage. Pursues her anyway for having a procedure that is legal in half of the states. It's just wild to me. And
because if they got to jail at their ages, we gotta stretch this out. Oh, yeah, well, of course, 100%. I mean, sometimes you just gotta make sure that, like, you know, the healthcare is suitable enough so their longevity is prolonged long enough so, you know, they're suffering shit. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like, I mean, if you go, I mean, probably not on Live Leak or shit, but, like, I mean, there's, like, you know, some places out there where, like, you can see some cartels, you know, prolong the suffering of, you know, some victims and shit, and they got some creative ways to make sure that someone stays alive. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go to their extreme, but, you know, they obviously know what drugs and what things that you can do to make sure someone is, well, alive for a while. Then well beyond than they should be. I mean, there's just some motherfuckers that, never mind, yeah, there's just some people, you know, with some of their videos where it's like, this person should have been dead like 30 seconds into this, and yet they still somehow had that person alive, and it's like, what? Please just let me die. Oh, sorry, we believe in life, and we think you should keep on fighting. Have a good night. No, please, shut the door. I hate the dark. It's like, hey, we're pro-life. We got the right to choose. Just like you, right?
13 laptops and smartphones, and they took 24 gigabytes of data, including photographs, information, documents, and the sort. It's genuinely Orwellian. This is the dystopia that conservatives claim to care about, but when it happens to individuals who they disagree with for making a decision about their own body, when it happens to children, let me be clear, who they disagree with for making decisions about their own body, they don't care. And a 17-year-old
If anything, they're okay with it going pretty much like outright Nazi level shit. Because I'm just gonna be honest, like, I mean, it goes beyond just Aurelian. It's like a dystopian, like fucking Nazi level shit. Like, I mean, this would make the Stasi be like, oh, we are so proud of you, yes. You just done us so well. The Stasi will be looking at like, goddamn, where did we go wrong? It's like, I mean, being like, shit, like, how do we fuck up on this? Like, man, we were flawed on our fucking, like, manipulation and power and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, it'd make, like, the Gestapo, the Stasi, the fucking KGB, like, it'd make all, like, the CIA, even all in itself just be like, oh, God, man, we're so proud of you. Oh, we taught them well. We taught them well.
a minor, but her and her mother are now in legal trouble. Now, some details about Facebook and the way that...
I think of apartment that remember that's Orville. Yeah, the Orville Boppers or something like that. Orville Boppers or whatever the fuck.
As you might have guessed, not
it's good
too
popcorn.
Well. This is from Forbes. A month before Celeste was charged, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, parent Meta, was asked by employees how the company will protect those seeking abortions. Zuckerberg replied that efforts to expand encryption across the platform will keep people safe, Cyberscoop reported. In May, Meta's VP of HR, Janelle Gale, told employees they were not allowed to discuss abortion at work, according to The Verge. The company later announced that it will reimburse employees who find they must travel to a different state to seek an abortion. Still, Meta has remained largely silent on how it will moderate abortion content in general. However, users recently noticed that Instagram and Facebook posts about acquiring abortion pills, such as
You get to watch the magic. Yeah, I tend to agree. Goddamn, my dog is asleep, but he's like farting right now, and oh my god, I'm smelling some of the whiffs, dude. It's fuck.
Removed. At the same
Asshole.
time, Meta continued to earn revenue from anti-abortion advertisements containing dangerous misinformation, Media Matters found. An investigation by Markup discovered that Facebook was collecting data from users interacting with abortion services websites and subsequently made that information available to anti-abortion groups. So it's not just a matter of, well, they, were subpoenaed, so they were required by law to turn over these documents. The data that they're collecting is made available to people who are against these women, who might, for example, if you have this data and you're an anti-abortion group, what's the implication of that? You could take this to local law enforcement so they could potentially prosecute women who allegedly have abortions on live fetuses instead.
I mean, this is pretty much like the equivalent of doxing, basically. I mean, like, this is just like, oh my god. This shit is just getting like, the more I hear this, the more, like, disturbed I get, and the more I have the urge to literally, like, want to, like, buy, like, 100,000 rounds in bulk, like, honestly, because I'm just, like, I mean, it's just, like, I'm not even a woman, and this is fucking scary as fuck. Because you think, because obviously it doesn't stop here, especially with the far right. I mean, and that's, like, the really fundamental scary thing about it. they're, essentially, because fundamentally they're trying to go after like the most marginalized type of groups and shit. In this case, especially right now, being women with the whole abortion issue. And the next thing you know, then they're gonna go after the immigrants, even further. And then they're gonna go after these different black communities. And then they're gonna start going after a lot of these woke groomers and the queer people and shit. And then from there, they're going to start going after, a lot of these different union agitators, a lot of worker rights agitators. And then they're going to start going after, from there, just different radical lefties and shit. Like, I mean, it just goes down the list. I wonder if there's any groups that specialize tracking dudes down who owe back child support. I got a feeling a lot of them will fall under this category. I know them. I know some friends that are pretty much got some people that are kind of like that. My friend Mentalty actually has that is like legitimately fucking insane and has like also a lot of guns and also is a crazy QAnoner freak as well. And yeah, and also has to pay child support. So that's a nice combination of things. Like, on the surface, he seems like a nice dude. Like, I've seen him, and talked to him. He's not a bad guy when you're just talking with him, but talking to him enough, and you start realizing, cuckoo.
Illegal. This is genuinely disturbing, and I need people to understand that this is just the beginning. Roe has only been overturned for a month or so, right? Maybe 2 months, give or take. But we're already seeing the lengths that prosecutors and attorneys general around the country will go to make sure that women aren't just prosecuted, but other women get the message that in the event you want to get an abortion, this could be your fate. You could be the next individual to be prosecuted. So there's a lot of details to this story. Vice did publish the court order. I'm going to link to that in the description box. Really, the main takeaway that I want this to be for you is, again, if you are a individual who is speaking with someone who tells you that they want to have an abortion, if you are a person who has the capacity for pregnancy and you use these social media websites and you're unwilling to delete them, absolutely do not talk about these matters in DMs, in direct messages, in any format.
I mean, honestly not. I don't even use Facebook anymore, but, like, fuck, bro. I definitely wouldn't want, anyone using these platforms at all anyway. Like, because, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's already been bad, but, like, fucking hell, dude. It's just, like, dark times are ahead, I say. I'm just like, fuck, dude. I mean, especially with the upcoming midterms and with how a lot of the right is feeling, despite a lot of their infighting too. And then 2024 coming up and knowing, like, how much, especially the GOP is, bucking up on DeSantis, it's not looking fucking good. It's honestly, for a lot of me at this point, it's like whatever investments I am doing is legit just kind of like, not necessarily like full on doomsday prepping, so to speak, but I mean, just straight up prepping, honestly. I mean, because, I mean, there's just like, I mean, it's definitely coming to like a point where, I mean, it might not necessarily like go to full on like Civil War lengths and shit. I mean, I don't think that. And frankly, if it is going to be attempted, it's not going to be from anyone from the left at any metric. It's it's going to be from these Christian far right fascists and white supremacist nationalists and these motherfuckers that are, because they're literally are trying to egg it on. So it's just like, I mean, all in all, who's really trying to push for it? So if it ends up being a thing, who's to blame with it? Especially the ones who are crowing about it day in and day out practically. Every time something bad happens to their side, Trump got raided at his Mar-a-Lago thing, I mean, because like I said, they're pretty much just like gearing up for, the right excuse, to try to shoot for it. No pun intended. And frankly, if they want to do it, then let's just hope that, we have at least, enough progressive lefty types, or at least, enough people on that type of mindset, or at least open to it, to enact a reconstruction to Electric Boogaloo, because God damn it, it needs to happen. Reconstruction never went far enough, and it needs to be, reinstated. Just straight up. Because it's, everything that led up to what Reconstruction ought to be is back and badder than ever, and it's just while it's going out with a bang, it ain't gonna last long. It needs to be snuffed out on our terms, not theirs.
Being penalized. With the way that Facebook has conducted itself, it doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. You're not a tinfoil hat wearer to take steps to protect yourself. I think that makes you logical, and you need to protect your data, protect your information, especially when it relates
and protect your life physically too.
To health decisions like this. Now, another thing that I
get bear spray at the very minimal.
Hadn't previously thought about is the way that different insurance companies, and not insurance companies, but healthcare providers, they have online systems so you can interact with your doctor. So for example, I have a health portal where I can send direct messages back and forth with my doctor about medication and whatnot. So in these states, if there are direct messages, i.e. evidence of a potential abortion or miscarriage that looks a little bit suspicious, is that going to be subpoenaed as well? How many doctors?
Maybe people should just start saying in Grand Theft Auto, or in Minecraft, or in some video game that they play. If they have to enter your home without a warrant. I think. I'm honestly not too sure. I'm not gonna make a fucking definitive answer on that one, honestly. I think in Oregon, maybe, but I really don't fucking know on that one. I think it probably varies from state to state. I thought they were robbers. I was kind of right. They came into my house without a warrant. Yeah, even if there was a challenge, or even if you were charged, of a crime or whatever, I think that could actually be challenged, and you can actually fight that in court and potentially win. So, I don't know if is there any actual cases of that happening? Where somebody, shot and killed a cop in their home because, they were searching their place or trying to arrest them or something like that without a warrant, and they won. I guess that would give us an answer, at least a more definitive one. If there's actual cases, that say, one way or the other. Especially, it would be tough, honestly, because when it comes to a cop killer, the system, just by proxy, is going to be fundamentally against you no matter what. So, I'd be honestly kind of surprised if there is actually a case where someone got away with it because of, of something like that. I would think it would be justified, frankly. If, I'm just gonna be honest, if some random, if a cop literally just busts through my fucking door right now, the first thing I'm doing is grabbing my firearm out of my case right there and just loading it up. That's gonna be my first instinct, because I'm who the fuck are you? What the fuck? Because I can hear my friends, usually, because they're pretty audible and noticeable, but if I'm hearing some noises, someone busts through my door and I don't recognize it, that's the first thing I'm gonna go for. Because, who the fuck are you? Get off my property. I don't recognize you. Who are you busting for my shit? And, and if they were cop police, I'll probably immediately be putting it down and be what the fuck are you doing? But I would still be holding on to it. And if they are immediately put the gun down, blah, 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 I'm bitch, you literally barged into my house. I'm not, what? I probably will just so I don't get shot, but, I'm still gonna be are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna tell me to put it down when you barged into my fucking house unwarrantedly? Fuck you, bro. But I don't want to get shot, so I will. But you're the asshole every step of the way, pig. I mean, at least given from where I am right now, given where the door is and, you know, the whole circumstance and shit. You know, but if I was in, like, in my room, I have my shotgun in there. And, I don't have it, like, one in chamber, but it's loaded. So, I can just, like, you know, load it and, you know, ready to go. Just with, you know, a quick little, you know, pull the fucking, you know, bolt. You know, simple as. But, you know, I have it just in case. It's in its gun case and secured and safe and stored away. But it's like, if I was in my room and like some cars are barging in and shit, unwarrantedly and shit like that, like my first instinct, especially if I'm hearing a bunch of noise and I don't know what the fuck's going on, like, my first instinct is to like to peep my head out maybe and be like, what the hell's going on? And if I notice that my dad's still sleeping and shit and my roommate's not, like, you know, making his usual noises, whatever, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna probably, you know, want to pull it out and be like, hold on, what's going on? And I'm gonna probably load it up and be like, what the fuck's happening here? I mean, luckily, I'm just like in an area in the neighborhood where it's quiet. And if there is anything that happens, it's usually not in this specific area, but usually kind of in surrounding areas. And even if there is, it's usually like, I've seen like every now and then, you know, like a homeless guy that will come by every now and then for like cans and different things that he could probably get for recycling and shit like that, you know, or maybe not just one dude, but a couple people, you know, times pass, but, I mean, I don't really give a fuck about that. I mean, if they were, like, you know, grabbing cans and shit like that, you know, it's like, whatever. But, beyond that, like, it's pretty quiet, so I'm just kind of glad I am in a quiet spot, so I don't really necessarily have to, like, hypotheticalize if this would be a situation I would have to deal with, but it's just, like, still, it's, I mean, you know, part of me doesn't necessarily take chances, because, I mean, if you got an intruder in your house, you don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. I mean, you don't know what, you know, they're, you know, planning. I mean, because it could be like, you know, I mean, it could be they'll just try to steal some shit and leave, but at the same time, you could probably have other ulterior motives, and it's just like, obviously, you know, you'd rather be prepared than not, and, well, yeah, I'd rather be a little, I guess, extra prepared. But that's just me. But again, I'm also in an area that doesn't really necessarily have to deal with shit, so I don't really have to worry about it. And if anything, I'd be more likely to just kind of come out and actually kind of peek my head out and see what the fuck's going on first and actually pull it out. But if there's like actual like sense of like something's wrong, then yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. But, you know, luckily at least around here, that isn't really necessarily a big deal where shit like that happens, so. Honestly, like, the worst things that have ever happened was when I was, like, a wee little lad. Like, in the late 90s, like, 99, 2000, 2001 era and shit. Or, like, 98, 99, 2001. Because there was a crazy story where I was actually just like a newborn at this point, but my mom and dad have told the story before. But basically, there's like this dude who was being searched for by the police at the time, who was schizophrenic and had a knife, and he happened to be hopping the fences in our neighborhood and happened to get into our fucking house. So, oh my god, this story is actually a little fucking whack, but basically, I mean, I'm pretty much like in where I'm sleeping in now, but like at that point, it was like a, you know, like a little taller room at the point, but I was like in there, and the dude came into the kitchen where my mom and dad were watching like a movie or some shit in the family room, and saw this dude. And, I mean, he wasn't bloody or nothing, he just had a knife, and just, you know, I think it was like a necklace knife or some shit, so it wasn't like some big one, it was just like a little, like, pocket knife that'd be, like, around the necklace or some shit, or whatever the fuck. Or, like, with, like, a little lanyard thing, so you can have it as a necklace or something. I think it was, like, one of those knives, but if I remember the story correctly. But basically, actually, hold on. I might be slightly misremembering the detail. I don't think my parents were in the same room. I actually, oh wait, no, they were. Okay, so basically, they both were like what the fuck, obviously, like, immediately, like, what the hell. And this dude basically saying I'm running, like, I got people after me, I got, like, the government, blah, 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 you know, freaking the fuck out a little bit. And my dad's like, whoa, chill, it's okay. Like, he kind of immediately was like, hey, it's alright. And my mom, like, processed for a second, just immediately, like, went ape shit. She was like, get on the ground and spread those legs. Like, she was like, you know, freaking out. And he went like, whoa, and like did. So he complied. And then she made my mom, she made my dad to go grab, you know, make sure I was okay, which I was. And then he went back, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna, you know, tend to me, and then you know, you deal with him. And you know, she's like, and he was basically just being chill. It's like, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. And then Dad just kind of being his weird, like, kind of like, hey, what's up? You know, kind of like vibe. Basically de-escalated enough and stalled him enough to where the cops did eventually show up and found him. But it was just like, I mean, it's kind of the general gist of it. I know there's some more details to it and shit, but like, I know that the dude was like schizophrenic and shit, and was like on the loose, and was because he was wanted for some other shit or something like that. But like that was like literally like at this point over 20 years ago. So it's like, honestly, the more crazier shit that has happened around this neighborhood is when I was like a wee little baby. Like, I mean, not really when I was a, like, you know, kid growing up, you know, like, remembering shit, or like an adult or a teenager or anything, you know. So if there is any shit, it's just like, you know, really benign stuff. I say again the same lines. Trophy hunter getting mauled by a lion. Just take 2 past them. Shoot first. Ask things later. Yep. Ask questions later. Yep. He looked down at you, one in his finger across your forehead, and whispered us a single word. Igna. Oh God. Actually, funny enough, there was one time I actually got pretty much the entire PD here to fucking basically go on a manhunt for me, even though I was basically under a couch taking a nap. Basically, my dad like passed out like after cutting up an apple, you know, with like a little knife and shit, you know, like at the you know, like in a little family room and shit. And this is also, I think, around the time my brother was in high school, but also working at like the radio station too. So he like came back from school, dropped some of his shit off, you know, and my dad, like, you know, at that point was still awake a little bit, so he thought that you know, my brother picked me up for some reason. I don't know why. But he thought that and basically kind of went back to sleep. And then for like the longest time he was like, wait, where the fuck am I? You know, and shit, where it comes to me, you know, and started looking around and realized, oh, he's actually kind of gone, and then actually called my brother. I was like, do you have him? He's like, no. It's like, why would I have him? And he went, oh shit, and basically called my mom, and then she freaked the fuck out, you know, closed her photography shit up early, and then fucking came home, and basically, you know, immediately kind of called in like, hey, I think our kid's missing. And then for like within like hours, it went from like, you know, one, you know, patrol cop showing up to like pretty much the entire PD, like all around the blocks, you know, looking for my ass. Like, you know, not just this street, but like the next street over, the street down, like just all over the place. And then, and I'm just taking a nap under a fucking couch this entire fucking time, like as a little 3-year-old or whatever the fuck. And yeah, at some point, like during this, he's over there. But yeah, but like, you know, at some point during this whole like fucking manhunt thing for me, or I guess baby hunt in this case. Like, you know, I guess wake up and make a little noise, and there happened to be like, you know, the chief and then like a few other like main heads and shit, like of my mom and dad being like, you know, we might have to put in a missing child, you know, report case in, and you know, blah blah blah, and they were about to kind of give them the rundown, and then I just like make it like a little or something like that, and they're like, what the fuck was that? Like, all of them were all like, wait, what was that? And I just like, just kind of like, you know, barreled my way out, and I just like, was like this, and just in a circle with like, you know, maybe 4 cops, and then my mom and dad just like all looking down at me like, I like, honestly, I mean, being a little baby, I mean, I don't really remember the like POV, but I could just imagine it, and all their faces, I bet, were just like, what the fuck? Like, cause all this time, I'm under this fucking couch, just sleeping, just whatever the fuck. And considering like there's like this much space between like the floor and the couch, it's honestly like a wonder how I even got in there in the first place, especially with my big fucking head. Like, my head was even huge back then, you know, so yeah. That's always good. But like, you know, they're like, especially my dad, he was always like, how the fuck do you even get under there with his big old head? And even I kind of wonder that too a little bit. And it's just like, just all this time being under that couch, and they were like up down this block, all up and down the street. Like, they were looking at like pretty much everywhere, but like moving furniture around the house a little bit. It's like, if they just did that just a little bit and moved the couch a little bit, they would have just saw that I was just taking a nap under there or something. Probably grabbing like a Hot Wheels car or something like that. I think that's what it was. I think, you know, what happened is like I was playing some Hot Wheels, one rolled under there, and I went to go grab it, and I just like thought it was comfy under there and took a nap. Like, I mean, that's legit probably what happened, and I got pretty much the entire police department here in my town to basically be like, alright, we gotta look for this kid. I was kind of a little anarchist even back then as a toddler, now that I'm thinking about it, and I kind of love it. Fucking with cops even as a baby. You know, I kind of like that a little bit. I kind of like I was a little shit stir even as a little baby. I mean, I think when I was like 3 or something, I was at like this party that my mom had a friend like in the area, and she you know, me and my you know, like me and, you know, dad all went to that little party and shit. And basically everybody was like, you know, having ciders like this and shit, and you know, and everyone was just laying them down on like the little like coffee tables and shit like that, where I can get to them, you know, as like a little 3-year-old. So I would just start, you know, thinking it's like apple juice or something, just start sipping them and shit. And, you know, like, and I was discreetly doing that with a bunch of different drinks that people would have. And one person picked it up and realized, wait, like, my beer's almost gone. And they went, weren't you drinking that? It's like, no, I just opened this. Like, you know, and I only had half of it, and I just opened it like 10 minutes ago. Like, there's no way I drank all of this. And then, you know, and then someone looked over and noticed that I was starting to sip on another one and went, oh shit. Like, and when everyone realized, like, oh fuck, you know, everyone just jumped into action to like, okay, we're getting all the drinks, you know, away from the kid. We're gonna make sure the kid's like outside somewhere. And at least from what my dad said, I was like knocked out and pretty much just like mostly sleepy for like 3 days straight. Got drunk, apparently. See, this is like another thing where I was too young to really like remember myself, but I mean, it's apparently something that I did when I was like, you know, wee little toddler. Which honestly, I mean, it sounds like me. I mean, it sounds like my anarchist like lifestyle, or at least, you know, a lot of my views, you know, we're just woven in from the beginning. Just like sneaking people's drinks, yeah, at 3, and fucking like, you know, fucking with the entire police department and shit when I'm like 2 or something. It's just built into me, what can I say? Did you try to get on a tricycle drinking and driving? No, I mean, I wasn't here. Like, the party, and I remember this much, the party and, where, that story wasn't at my house. It was, I know where, what house it is. Obviously I'm not gonna say where, but even then, I don't even know where the fuck it is. I just know it's somewhere in town. It's actually in a really nice, like, little forested area, and it's like, shit. I kind of wish I was, like, at that pad, low-key. Maybe got Irish in you. No, I do. No, I got, like, quarter Irish in me. I got a little bit of the Irish in me, laddie. About a quarter of it. It's about, like, 25% Irish in me, laddie. Aye. I think I pulled off the accent pretty good. Oh, that's a pretty decent genetic Irish accent. I guess I'm starting to swing into a little bit of Scottish. Yeah, now I am. Yeah, now I went Scottish there for a second. God damn it. I mean, honestly, I could technically be like a modernized Scot. I mean, in a sense, because I got like the Anglo-Saxon. Honestly, I mean, what really requires is the Pict. I don't think I'm Pictish at all. I mean, there are, I mean, Pictish are basically a subgroup of Celt, though. So, I mean, it's just like, an Irish is Celtic, but that's Irish, not Pictish. So, I'm just like, all I know is I'm just a Northern European mutt. That much I know. Is there any UK native dish that you like? Giving them some sweets, but that's it. Honestly, I don't know, because I haven't been to the UK, so I really wouldn't know what type of dishes that they would have outside of, like, fish and chips, you know, and shit. I mean, I guess for just, like, a basic hearty dish for at least Icelandic food, kjötsupa, which is just lamb soup, is actually pretty nice and hearty. And also, horse meat is something that you can get there, at least have a lot more access to it, and dead ass is actually really fucking good. I mean, I love horsies and shit like that. Like, I wouldn't want to, you know, like if I raised, you know, and had some myself, I wouldn't necessarily want to eat them. But, I mean, honestly, they do taste pretty good. I will admit that. And when I was eating it at the steakhouse in Reykjavik that I ordered it from, my mom was giving me so many fucking dirty looks. She was just like, she just had like this traumatized look. Like, I mean, pretty much like the equivalent of how like this old man's best friend of dogs, like that's how she views horses. So she was just looking at me like, I can't believe this. I can't believe you ordered that and eating it. Oh. I mean, because I offered her like a tiny bite. It's like, you want to try some? She's like, no, why? Why'd you offer me that? No. I'm just like, I don't know, because it tastes good. I mean, she's like, no, I can't. I couldn't do that. I'm just like, all right. And I gave it to Dad. I was like, you want to try it? And he's like, all right, fuck it. You know, and I gave it to him. He's like, that's actually really good. Yeah, he liked it. Chicken tikka masala is apparently a national UK dish. Sounds kind of Indian. Because that is Indian. Like, I know their favorite food out there is curry and shit. So you were so hungry you literally ate a horse. Well, yeah, I did. And it was fucking delicious. And chicken tikka masala is, I'm pretty sure, like, either Middle Eastern or, like, Indian. I'm pretty sure. And also, like, curry is, like, another big dish in the UK, but that's also, like, I'm noticing that, like, a lot of dishes that apparently, like, a lot of British people like is pretty much, like, dishes they appropriated from either, like, India or, like, somewhere in the Middle East. Like, chicken tikka masala is, I'm pretty sure, very Indian. And then there's curry, which isn't strictly Indian, but curry is in a lot of Indian food. It's a very big staple in a lot of their dishes. So it's just like, I mean, it kind of shows a lot of their history with that, I think. Considering their, you know, colonialism in India and places like that. Yeah, so, yeah. It's like, we can't do colonialism then no more, but at least we could take your food. At least here in America we do it better. At least the Indians that make chicken tikka masala here make it fucking dank as fuck. So... I mean, you know what? I haven't had chicken tikka masala in UK, so you know what? I guess I could hold my tongue a little bit. But, I mean, if there is like a sense of nationalism or patriotism in me, it's against the Brits. It's all playful, I mean, I will admit, but it's still there. I got it in there. This damn T-Tax and Brit Bong and sons of bitches. Still got a goddamn fucking ancestral monarchy, like, over you. not literally ruling you anymore, but you still got it over there, just like on above you, condescendingly smugly like lording over you if they're fucking wealth and shit. It's like you fucking Brits. Like, I mean, it's like if the Revolutionary War, like Boogaloo, you know, happened and shit. Like, you know, like I see you on the front lines there, Brits. You think your little L86, like your L86 fucking little, like, bullpup rifle things that are probably more likely to jam than anything that we've ever made is gonna fucking do shit, bitch. We basically just, like, give you, like, our, like, bootleg shit. Like, the F-35s we give you, bootleg shit. I mean, we bootleg our own shit, so it's like, you think you're getting good shit, UK? Bitch, please. So I was curious what the national dish for Native Americans would have been, and I found this. 25 favorite Native American recipes. Well, I mean, there wouldn't necessarily be a national dish. Because, like, different tribes, you know, had access to different foods and different resources, so... I mean, depending on the tribe, they probably would have, like, you know, like the Chinook tribe in the Pacific Northwest, for example, you know, or, you know, would have more access to fish versus, like, the Lakota Sioux, where they would be in the, you know, like, the plains and shit like that, so... I guess that's why there's, you know, like, this type of little list. I'm not gonna lie, like, the first picture that they have, though, looks pretty dank. I don't know what that is, but that looks pretty good. It looks like there's refried beans, a little bit of cabbage. It's, I don't know what the sauce is. I'm assuming, like, a cream cheese or, like, a mayo of some sort. Looks like some ground beef and, you know, like all on top of a tortilla. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty good. Native American recipes that are actually native aren't always easy to find, whether you're a member or one. Oh, okay. Now, let's get to the food. Corn, beans, and squash. All across the continent, Native American food focus on these three staples. I figured that these three would probably be like a main staple across the board for the most part. Because there's beans and squash and to an extent corn that can grow here in the Pacific Northwest as well. So, and potatoes too. I don't know if potatoes are... I don't know if there is any like American native potatoes though. But, I don't know, maybe there is. One I see is something called fry bread. Fry bread, huh? All across the continent, American foods. Corn was eaten as is or ground up and used as a variety of recipes. Hard beans, variety. Okay. Ooh, look at all this colorful corn. So colorful. You never really see corn like that. That's so cool. I like that. This is probably just how corn was in the wild, honestly. It just literally was a variety of various different crazy colors like this. Honestly, I bet it was probably more nutritious and tasty. Because honestly, I'm not like the biggest fan of corn, but if you put some salt and pepper on some corn, it's actually pretty good. I like corn with some salt and pepper on it. Like for me, I'm kind of a sucker for salt and pepper. Like if something's like too bland for my taste, usually salt and pepper solves all of it. Other plant. Okay, let's see. Can we get to the dish? The traditional meats in Native American foods. While many people associate venison and deer meat with historical Native American recipes, people from all across the nation also eat rabbit, buffalo, mutton, pork, both saltwater, freshwater fish, and blah blah. Yeah, well, of course, yeah. Are we getting to the foods? Like, I mean, I get this part: soups, stews, and casseroles. Okay, Three Sisters soup. Ooh, this must be like referring to like the Three Sisters Mountains in the PNW. That actually looks kind of good. I like that. The bread looks interesting. Looks like, you know, your traditional soup. What's in it? And fry bread. Ooh, that's the fry bread? Nice. Made of all fresh ingredients: corn, zucchini, beans, and tomato broth. Oh, dude, that's what's in there. Zucchini. Hell yeah, dude. Dude, that actually looks pretty fucking good. Put a little salt and pepper in there, and honestly, the only thing I would personally add is some onions. I would add some onions in there. But other than that, dude, that shit looks fucking fire. That actually looks really good. I'd eat that up. It looks like you would dip the fry bread in there and, like, kind of get, like, some of the, you know, like, zucchini and the corn, you know, on the fry bread of some of that, like, tomato soup broth, you know, like, kind of dripping off. And, God, oh, that looks fucking amazing, dude. Oh, man, dude, like, a fucking banger right off the bat, dude. I'm kind of like, I don't eat it often, but man, I need to get soup more often, dude. I'm kind of a sucker for soup. I love soups and stews because they're so hearty. They're so, like, sometimes it might take a while to make, but they're so easy to do so, though. It takes time, but they're very easy. I mean, it's because all you have to do is just get, like, a broth going and just add whatever the fuck you want for ingredients, and boom, you got yourself a soup. Like, I mean, or stew, you know? It's just like, because, oh, God, like, I'm a sucker for that shit. I don't have them often, and I don't really make them that often. But, oh, I will admit, I am, like, if I see it on a menu or something, and I'm definitely, like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling it. Oh, I'm getting the soup. Love that type of shit. Usually I'm always, like, I usually don't, because there's always something that kind of won the upset, like, a burger or some other shit like that, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to try that because I want to kind of see what that type of quality is. But one of these days, I just gotta try soup, especially that. Like, I mean, where is this? So, I mean, I feel like, did they say anywhere? They don't, man. Oh, is it just home cooking? Oh, I guess it is. Okay. Yeah, there's a hashtag on there. Yeah. Oh, man, if there's, like, some local restaurant in Oregon that served this, oh, dude, because this looks like a fucking restaurant. Like, that's home cooking? Bruh, that's some home cooking. I honestly, unironically thought that was, like, some restaurant-made shit right there. Like, I thought that was, like, a picture of, like, something from a restaurant. I was actually wanting to see if there's, like, a hashtag of the restaurant name, you know, because I was going to see if it's, like, you know, if it was, like, in Madras or Bend or something, because I was like, dude, I want to try that. But, oh, dude, you know what? Hey, it's easy to make, so I'm probably going to try it. I'm going to probably make some of this. I'm probably going to make my own little flair to it, maybe add some onions and maybe add, like, something else to it, maybe some potatoes. But, all in all, god damn, that looks so good. This is just the first one. There's 25 of these. Anyway, buffalo stew of hearty vegetables. Oh, I do have bison meat that I still have frozen. That's still very good. I just need to thaw it and cook it. Oh my god, I think I might. Oh, what's in it? Yeah, buffalo, which is bison basically. Midwest, West Plains, buffalo stew or tonka mia lo. In Cherokee would have been a staple in their cooking. A recipe would also include potatoes, carrots, or other root vegetables. Ooh, and herbs like sage for flavor. Oh, I gotta try this. I have to. I never used sage as like a seasoning. I actually should try that. I never had sage as like a seasoning before. Ooh. Oh, that sounds so good. Is every bit as hearty as you want it to be, but won't leave you feeling bogged down. Hey, what's it look like? Oh, wait, there's no picture for it? Wait, okay, you cannot leave me hanging like this. No picture? Are we serious? I mean, we get these little, like, sweets, but it's an ad. Boo! I want to see a picture as an example. I mean, come on. Though, that sounds good. I'm just going to at least put that out there. I mean, that sounds fire. Like, 2 bangers. I just want to see a picture of this, because it just looks so good. Or sounds good, at least. Chicken, corn, and chili soup. For a bit of southwestern flavor. Chicken corn soup is bold taste of green and red chilies. Ooh. Definitely probably in a mood for the red chilies. Today you can use a carton of chicken broth, canned food, blah, 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 yeah. Is that about it? Okay. No picture. They don't have a picture for all this? God damn, man, fuck that shit a little bit. Algonquin nut soup. Called Paganins in traditional language. This indigenous soup, I'm probably butchering that, recipe forms a creamy concoction made from simple stock, parsley, salt, black pepper, shallots, and hazelnuts. Ooh, oh, I love hazelnuts. All you have to do is blend everything together and heat it up. Modern chefs may want to use a food processor for this recipe to break down the roasted nuts or strain soup at the end to prevent lumps. Vegetable dishes. Scotash. Or succotash. The recipes for corn and beans succotash is relatively simple. Packs a lot of flavor and nutrition. All you have to do is mix ingredients together and simply enjoy as a side dish. With some pork roast, fried catfish, or bison stew. Ooh. So basically it's just corn and beans and what, you just mix it together? Include lima beans or other type of beans too. Gives them a lot of flexibility. Okay. Okay. Savory baked pumpkin. Ooh. Pumpkins were a popular food in the eastern part of North America for centuries. Baked pumpkins quite simple and can be added to make different dishes, adding some roast meat, dried berries, or other veggies to roast pumpkin itself makes it a very different flavor. All it takes to bring this dish to recipe to life is pumpkin cut up and roasted in an oven up to an hour. Ooh. Why am I getting the same ad over and over again? Maple butternut squash. Oh my god. I don't know if I can keep going with these. This is making me too hungry. Oh my god. And what I have in my fucking fridge and shit right now is not even remotely close to any of this amazing dankness. It's like, this is starting to like get better and better. Like there's like... I want this. This is so good. See what happens. Oh, this man, European. See what happens with Europeans eating fish. Like, man, this shit's bland. Why won't Christopher Columbus hurry up and discover America already? Then we can't get some chilies in time for this stuff. I mean, for real though. What's this? Cherries, desert harvest, prickly pear, cactus jelly. Oh my god, this sounds amazing. Oh, that looks delicious. You know what? Here, hold on. I want to look for a couple more of these, but oh, holy shit, I'm just gonna start starving myself, honestly. At this rate. Load. Okay, yeah, alright, here we go. Let's do this. We'll go down here. Wild rice and cranberry salad. God damn it! Sounds so amazing! While not directly associated with a traditional Native American recipe. What? Boo! This wild rice and cranberry salad is definitely something that could have been made an appearance in a traditional meal. Cranberries grow quite readily in the eastern United States. Wild rice can be found in quite a few authentic Native American recipes. All it takes is wild rice, cranberries, and add some broth, shallots, garlic, rosemary, maple syrup. Oh my god. Oh. Sounds amazing. Oh. That right there. Okay. Oh my god. That just sounds amazing. So not traditional, but technically could have been made. Yeah. Which honestly, all in all, I mean, if you think about it, like, hey, like, I need to make something up really quick for like a quick little meal or a quick little snack. There's some cranberries, you know, bushes over there. You know, we got some stock of rice, you know, got a couple little things that we, you know, got from the harvest, you know, got from a gathering, you know, a couple days ago. You know, I'll make myself, you know, some rice and cranberries, you know, make a little salad out of that. I mean, that definitely sounds very likely. I mean, it honestly sounds like, you know, a little like a treat, if anything. It sounds like a little treat that someone would do, you know, before, like, you know, going off on a hunt or something like that. Like, here, let me make myself, you know, a little snack, you know, to energize myself before we go on our hunt. You know, it's like something like that. because it's quick, you know, a little simple, you know, and all you have to do is just kind of warm it up a little bit, and boom, there you go. And chances are there's always like a campfire going on, you know, at your camp, so, you know, like it won't take that long to do something like that. Okay, let's see what the national dish of the great people of England have. Crickets chirping. I know, I know, right? Just nothing. Okay, to be fair, maybe we should take a look. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do think they have, like, you know, some legitimate dishes. Like, my mom went to London twice, and both times, I mean, she had different, like, traditional dishes and shit. I mean, I have to, like, ask her about, like, what different, you know, traditional food that they had there. Because I know she also had, like, the fish and chips and stuff like that. But I know she did some other food, too, while she was over there. So. I'm definitely a lot more open to food than she probably is, though, I will admit. I mean, way more so, because I was willing to eat a horse and she wasn't. She looked at me with disgust. I mean, maybe not like that. But, I mean, it's basically the equivalent of that. She's like... I look at you disgust. How dare you eat a horse? It's like, honestly, at least when it comes to it, you know, at the end of the day, I'd rather eat a horse in Iceland than in America. Because in America, like, horses are treated pretty fucked up. I at least, you know, can give the benefit of the doubt for Iceland to at least have, you know, decent conditions and standards and regulations for their animals like horses, especially if they're used for consumption. Number 2 doesn't even count as a dish. Top British foods and drinks. But yeah, like, you know, all these are fucking dishes. These are just like drinks too. Fish and chips, tea, and oh my god, fucking goddamn Brits. Roast dinners. Okay, well, you know what? That actually looks fucking good, actually. I mean, I'm not a fan of the peas. I'd probably, you know, maybe want a little replacement. You know, maybe a little something different. But, you know, the rest of that looks pretty good. The roast itself is delicious size, and of course, the gravy. And quintessentially British. Sunday lunch in the UK is also as a Sunday roast and very hot British cook in, you know, food and cooking. Oh my god. Cup of tea. It's a literal cup of tea. Oh, go fuck yourself. Fish and chips, yeah, whatever. Yorkshire pudding. That's pudding? Looks like a little some baked good. It's nothing like American pudding. Yeah, go fuck yourself, you weird ass British people. Full English breakfast. Okay, this actually looks pretty fucking fire. This actually looks good. This looks pretty fucking dank. I'll give him this. A Cornish pastry. Well, I mean, you know, that looks good. I'd eat that. Strawberries and cream. Well, no shit, I'd eat that. Crumpets. Fucking crumpets. They look like they're basically biscuits. They're just fucking biscuits you have with your tea. Beers. Oh, we do it better in Oregon. Go fuck yourself, England. You know nothing. Jaffa cakes. These are just like chocolate covered cookies. Fuck you, Britain. Fuck you, British. You goddamn tea tax and fucking royal humping fucking weirdos. Like, there's literally like 2 or 3 items that are worth a fuck. The full English breakfast was basically the only one worth a shit. Like, give me a break. And what in the fuck is this thumbnail? And there's not. Yeah, I know. Like, beers, like, I mean, like, pretty much, like, every region in the world thinks it got the best beer. Like, Germany is gonna, like, try to fucking one-up you, and they're gonna one-up pretty much the rest of the world. I'll give Germany their fucking respect. Like, I mean, they're the beer capital of the world. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna besmirch them that. But, if, like, craft beers and shit like that, and just kind of beers in general and abroad, like, I mean, P&W kind of got a lot of that shit on lock, because we adapted and inherited a lot of that, like, German beer craft. Like, I mean, there's a lot of that, you know, kind of around here, too, on top of our own shit. So, I mean, it's like, I mean, we just do shit better here. I mean, Germany is, like, you know, like, the only thing they got going is probably, like, their beer. But that's, like, I mean, I haven't had their beer yet, like, there. Like, I haven't, like, gotten it from the tap over there and shit like that, so I'll bite my tongue a little bit. But, just saying, we do it better. USA, that's right, brother. Goddamn right. Goddamn America coming out right here. Better wave that flag proud, brother. Honestly, I feel like, I kind of want to check this out too, honestly, but roundabout before we do, though, it's just like, when it comes to, like, food, beer, and, like, it's just kind of, like, different elements of just kind of culture, politics and all that shit aside. Just, like, different things, like, when it comes to culture, like, in entertainment, music, food, shit like that. Like, I mean, outside of, very specific regional parts of the world, I mean, honestly, America, when it comes to especially food, I think, really does, like, appropriate culture very well when it comes to food. Like, because, I mean, in a lot of ways, like, a lot of these traditional ways and traditional recipes and recipes, and like a lot of these, styles of cooking and shit, do come here, and, because, I mean, I've seen it before. I mean, fuck, there was somebody that used to work at my workplace, that was an immigrant from Ethiopia, and he would go back and forth from the U.S. to Ethiopia to visit his family, and especially considering the U.S. dollar to the Ethiopian dollar, it's like, I mean, he was making, like, rich bank fucking bucks in comparison to his family, so when he would visit back home, he would use a lot of his paychecks and a lot of his income and savings to actually, bring it back to his own family and help them and bolster, their standard of living in a lot of ways. And when he came back, he would bring a lot of different food, from when he was visiting back home. And there was times I would try some different Ethiopian dishes and shit, because he would be on lunch and I'd happen to be on break or go to the bathroom or, whatever the fuck, and all this other shit, and he'd be like, hey, you want to try some of this? And I'd just be like, I mean, it's kind of like this fat thing of awesome looking food, so sure, I'll try a little bite. And he would be open to have other people try his food because he would have so much of it. There, obviously, for him, there would be no way he could eat all of it. So you just, let people try some of it if they wanted to, and he'd ask if they wanted to and shit, and I'm sure I'd try it. And straight up, oh my god, like, the flavors and, like, even texture, like, and when it came to, like, food, when it came to, like, texture and flavor, I didn't think I would experience flavors or textures like I did trying some of the food that he gave me. I was just like, whoa, there's, like, some spices, some flavors, like, different things that I, like, whoa, this is, like, whoa, good shit. Like, my body didn't really know how to process it right off the bat, but, once I started eating it more, I was like, oh shit, this is good. And I was kind of wanting a little more after that, because I was just like, shit. I mean, because, that coming back and shit, I mean, in full circle, like, there's a lot of people like him, maybe, that will use that opportunity to maybe start a food cart business or start a full-on, like, a little restaurant or something like that and bring a lot of that food, to everybody else, to experience this shit. And there's a lot of different food carts that are, like, Egyptian, fucking Iranian, like, there's, like, German food cart, there's Iraqi, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, fucking, like, I mean, it's because, like, Portland's almost like food cart central in a lot of ways. There's, like, I mean, if there's, like, like an ethnic food style or like a, cultural food that you want to try, I mean, chances are there's a food cart for it, like, just straight up. And it's always, usually like a little mom and pop thing or like a family done thing and shit, or maybe like friends gotten together and shit like that. But I mean, it's always so good. Like, I had, like, some pupusas that are, like, from the El Salvadorian food cart back when I was doing some college and shit, and those were so fucking fire. Oh, my God, they were so good. Oh, I mean, I mean, that's at least the one thing I could, definitely, say I probably have a patriotic element about myself is that, like, especially when it comes to, like, music and food, I think that's, like, the one thing I think Americans have a track record of doing good with. I mean, it's a very low bar, but it's at least something, Because when it comes to, like, food and music, I mean, I think there's so much, influence from it, especially music globally, that, I mean, it's kind of hard to say otherwise in a lot of ways, honestly. I mean, it's not like there's flaws and problems, especially when it comes to food, honestly. Mainly in the food industry and the corporate aspect of things. But when it comes to just, like, people, like, with the melting pot of, like, like, sharing food and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, this is the most biggest common, like, this is, like, the two most common things that, of, like, humanity is people like music and they like listening to it, whether they have, like, a very particular genre or not that they're into or whatever the fuck, or if they, like, listen to music often or not. Like, they like listening to it, and shit. And food. Like, I mean, people gotta eat, right? So it's like, this is, like, I think, like, the two biggest things, especially when it comes to culture, that are, like, the biggest bridges. And that's why I think, at least, to some degree, despite, like I said, politics and all that shit aside, at the beginning of it, like, it's one of the few things I think America's done right is, like, the, cultural blending and mixing of a lot of this different aspects when it comes to music and food. Especially food, I think. Because, I mean, there's a lot of, like, I think, a lot of different foods that I personally haven't, probably would never have tried before if there wasn't for the fact there was such a diverse blend of all sorts of different backgrounds, whether it's like, like I was saying earlier, like El Salvadoran, Iraqi, so on and so forth and shit like that, like, of these different food carts around here. I just kind of wish that was just everywhere else in the country and shit, you know what I mean? Like, this whole, like, food cart thing, when it comes to, in Portland, like, I wish that was a lot more common everywhere else just because of, like, how much enrichment it really brings, honestly. It is beautiful. Jamaican food, jerk mother, clucking chicken. That sounds amazing. Jerk chicken. Oh my god, it looks amazing! I want to gobble all that up. Like, I'd literally gnaw on the bones until they were just, like, just soft and chewy so I can swallow it. Like, I'd literally eat all of it. Dude, that chicken right there, that's, like, that one right there, oh my god, it's just... That's perfect. Just how it's just, like, perfectly, like, just ripped apart. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Oh, that sauce. Oh my. Okay, I gotta look away. Stop. Oh my god. Oh Jesus, that's so good. That was tasty. The rich want you to starve. I think Rosie Black wants me to starve. I kind of actually just realized what the title was. I'm like, oh god. This is alright, well, I accidentally clicked it, but hey, I'm clicking it now. Mouthgasm, but you edge yourself. Yeah, dude, I kind of have to. Because if I had, like, the means, I would make, like, pretty much, like, 90% of the stuff we were looking at least when it comes to visuals, if I had the ingredients, I'd make it right now. Because, holy fuck. I mean, honestly, like, most of it was, like, soups and stews, so I have, like, 4 soups going on. Like, 4 different soups. Like, having, like, some fried bread going, like, a full English breakfast, a fucking, like, some chicken on the side. Like, I would have to have, like, 3 kitchens. My kitchen would not even be remotely big enough for it. Don't know if it'll watch this entire thing. I just realized it was, like, the longest it is, but it will do 1.25. We'll do it, it will split in the middle. I usually will sometimes do 1.5, but I'm just like, sometimes that can be a little too fast, even for me, so. I'm gonna smoke this bowl first, because I have a feeling that with all of our funds and me, Marie, and amazing topic of food, and if anything, like, a lot of the benefits of just, like, the just, like, kind of the fruits of, bringing that out and shit like that, was especially with, like, kind of the cultural, enrichment and shit like that. I mean, I can kind of go on, forever about that type of stuff, honestly, because of just how much I think, when it comes to, like, cultural diversity and shit like that. I think, if you want to try to sell that the most to people, I think music and mainly food, I think is really the best way to do it. Because, like I said, everyone's got to eat. So, I mean, it's like when you want to, like, maybe have somebody open their mind a little bit to a different, like, culture, to a sense, trying one of their dishes, is probably at least, potential a possibility to potentially open their mind up a little bit. It's not always the case, but, I mean, if everyone's got to eat, it's like into something else besides this interesting dish you haven't tried before, then, hey, what can go wrong, you know what I mean? I guess some people will still be turned off and be like, I just want my Big Mac. But, well, I mean, then if anything, they're kind of sad sops of shit, frankly. Of no mind that wants to seek enrichment, as far as I'm concerned. If anything, that just shows you they're not worth your time. Anyway. Let's see what this is all about.
Maybe headed for a recession, with some economists saying we're already there. Chief economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis joins us.
Jesus Christ, she's sounding faster than Ben Shapiro. Maybe this is 1.25. What the fuck? Did he speed his fucking shit up?
With what all this means. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning to you, Cecilia, and the latest data from the...
No, she just talked that fast. Jesus, did she, like, take a bump of coke?
First Department shows the U.S. economy shrank.
I guess I'll just leave it on normal for now.
June, meaning consumer spending slowed, business investment fell, and stores reduced their restocking. Now, these are traditionally signs we could be facing a recession, but try and get the...
Alright, I'm just gonna add this right now, like, at least for my store, like, if anything, we're starting to, like, we're actually kind of, like, gotten stuff stocked back up a little bit. Like, they're saying this, but I guess regionally and, selectively, I guess it's not always the case. I mean, at least for my store, yesterday there was, like, a full fucking load of shit, and, Night Crew was, like, going full ham, unloading, the truckload and shit like that. So, I mean, I guess, obviously it's on a national level, but at least regionally around here is kind of improved-ish? I say ish because it's not really, improved to pretty much like, like pre-inflation, norms or whatever the fuck, like, but, I mean, all in all, I mean, it's a little better. It's not really entirely the case, but okay.
Yeah, I wonder why the administration doesn't want to say the word recession, especially when, things like...
Because basically that would cause them even, like, that would pretty much solidify the recession, essentially, because then everyone would be like, oh, fuck, it's a recession, we gotta pull out of our stocks, like, that's the reason why they're not gonna say it.
And in the entire premise, as a matter of fact, that economists have cultivated, or the entire premise that, like, the economy revolves around is, like, trying to analyze human behavior, trying to quantify or figure out a quantifiable approach to human behavior. And one of those things is that human beings respond to things that you say. And saying the word would probably make people panic. What annoys me is that people are struggling.
I mean, basically is like the rundown of what I just said. I said it a lot quickly, but yeah, pretty much the same thing. It's like, if you say it, it solidifies it because people freak out and panic because you did say it, and now people think you are in it, and then they basically solidify the fact that now we're actually are in it by pretty much tanking the economy.
No one cares, bro. People are struggling when it's not a recession, you know what I mean? People struggling under a capitalist organization of the economy is just a constant factor. It's a consistent reality, you know what I mean? Like, you think people weren't suffering when the market was heating like a motherfucker, you know what I mean? When the line kept going up, when we were in an asset bubble? No, people were still fucking suffering non-stop.
This morning, as debate broke...
I mean, if at least for me, it's why I don't really give a fuck if, if Biden administration does say, we're in a recession, Jack. Because if anything, like, I mean, it just kind of, pops a lot of the various bubbles that have, been inflated, as far as I give a shit. So, fuck it. As far as I care. Because, I mean, we've already been fucking suffering even when their fucking stocks go go up. So, it's just like, I mean, how in the fuck is, this gonna be like, some big impact on, the average people when we already been being fucked, bamboozled as it is already?
U.S. is already in a recession, or will be. The chairman of the Federal Reserve says...
No, we already are.
We aren't there yet.
I do not think the U.S.
No, we literally are.
Is currently in a recession. And the reason is there are just too many areas of the economy that are performing...
There's a couple different ways of getting out of this.
Too many areas of the economy that are basically, being bolstered up, like the fossil fuel and the pharmaceutical industries and, other various different companies and shit like that, because, they're doing pretty well. We can't necessarily say that we're in a recession despite, a lot of problems, especially when it comes to, shortage of actual, like, living wages and shit, thus people not wanting to actually, like, fucking work for starvation wages and shit, Like, there's other aspects, that are doing pretty well, so we can't necessarily, like, go against that. Like, I mean, one thing I noticed, like, I also saw, like, because I noticed that Cracker Barrel, they decided to go, have, like, some vegan sausage added to the menu or some shit. And also I saw an article that's a local article where they closed down Cracker Barrel in Portland due to, for various different issues, but one of them being like, crime or whatever the fuck. But despite all this shit, the profits of Cracker Barrel went up 11% since last year. So it's like, despite the fact that, there's a lot of these things where, at least not for, like, the vegan sausage thing, but at least with closing of their store and shit like that, which causes a lot of people to suffer because they get laid off. They're making a lot more profits and shit like that for Cracker Barrel, so it's like, seems a little interesting. But, we're not in a recession, though.
My opinion on it, as just as uneducated as, like, every other person, okay? This is an uneducated guess, is that dealing with the supply chain and ensuring that there is more supply to meet the demand, whether it be, consumer goods that are a part of the inflation metric, or even goods that are a necessity for survival, or goods or services that improve your position as a labor force, make you a more productive wage laborer, like college educations, or, like I said, goods or services that are necessary for your survival, like healthcare or housing. Unless you, game the system a little bit further and make sure that those subsidies that you afford, or the subsidies that you offer to corporations, capitalist corporations, in an effort to boost productivity or boost the supply, actually is enforced somehow through a regulatory mechanism, these motherfuckers are not going to do shit. There's only two ways out of this. Either you kill a bunch of people because, like, people are fucking dying.
I like how blunt it was with that.
They just don't have a job. They don't have any money. They're suffering. They're killing themselves. And then enough of them die, and then there's, like, less demand overall. Enough of them die, and then there's less demand overall, and then the prices have to...
I mean, basically, though, honestly. I mean, it's like, hey, we need less people, thus less demand. I mean, it's, yeah, that's one way.
The prices have to be fucking pulled down, and also you have a more desperate workforce, so that now they're going to be easily more servile, and they're going to turn around and say, yes, please, sir, I will do this fucking minimum wage job. I will let all the small business owners shit all over me at the Applebee's job. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Or you're going to try and make things a little bit cheaper. No more tax breaks, no more subsidies if these companies are not going to follow what is best for the people rather than their own corporate profits.
Or just trust bust them at the very minimal. I mean, that could be another thing too. I mean, especially if they're big enough for it. Because, like, if they're basically willing to just eschew and be like, nah, we're not going to, like, do the basic, things, for our workers and give them, basic needs, like when it comes to, like, insurance, for our company and different benefits, things like that. Then it's like, well, do you really deserve to honestly, be operational when you can't even give your workers a fair share, so they can have at least a basic, decent standard of living? Methinks not.
Behavior is the reason why we're in this situation.
Regardless of what it's called, Americans are feeling the pain in their wallets. According to a growing number of economists, including Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, the signs of a recession are forming, with inflation up 9.1%, prices rising on food, shelter, and transportation.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. If only there was a way to, like, deal with that. If only there was a way to deal with, like, shelter, and if only there was a way to deal with transportation, and if only there was a way to deal with food.
Oh, yeah. No, for real. Yeah, if only there was just some policies that could potentially, just solve a lot of these things, like, hey, housing's not becoming more affordable. It's like, I wonder what can solve that. Oh, hey, we need more, accessibility for, like, public transit, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I wonder what can solve that. Yeah, it's like, methinks.
They're fucking heavily subsidized industries. Heavily subsidized industries, either subsidized directly, okay, like agricultural production and for food, or transportation also for oil and gas subsidies, but then also on top of that, it's supposed to be something that the government is literally taking care of. But all the government does is take your money and subsidize their fucking corporate profits. It's bananas. Any kind of industry, what they learn.
Not just bananas, but it's as if that we're kind of like in a banana republic at this point. It just kind of reminds me of the whole lyrics of Star Strikes Corruption. It's like, say you'll fight to defend this useless flag, but you want a banana republic that bag, then why don't you just go move to one?
Yeah, but the problem with that line of thinking...
And it just kind of goes on to say, what can just one of us do? It's all about money and power, just trying to crutch us into roaches.
Do you step away from that and go, wait a minute, we keep getting shit wrong, what the fuck's going on? One of the greatest examples of this is that tight labor markets, where unemployment is very, very low, damn near full employment, right, is supposed to create conditions that make it easier for workers to be able to demand higher wages. But we never really had a tight labor market until COVID, when like 1 million fucking workers died. So how do you look at unemployment being record low, hitting record lows year over year over year over year in the United States of America leading up to COVID, and wages are fucking stagnant? Like, how does that happen? That is a direct counter to like one of the basic fucking principles, okay? One of the basic principles. I know public transportation isn't great, but so many people could take it and save while boosting demand for better transport. Here's the Intercept piece that friend of the show, Kent Klippenstein, wrote on a leaked memo. Leaked Bank of America memo. We hope conditions for American workers will get worse.
Wow. Really, huh? Oh, leaked. It's like, oh, we hope that things tend to get worse and worse and shit, because that that'll kind of help boost our profits and shit. It's like, let's not try to actually uplift people's general working conditions and help tie their wages into inflation and shit. I mean, it just makes me feel like really honestly thankful that I am in the union now at this point, because of like it at least trying to accommodate our wages to a lot of these problems with inflation. It's like it doesn't solve all of it, but it helps a lot. Because, I mean, we're at least, able to get, a better shake and a better share, out of, the end of the deal, especially with this exploitative system versus people that aren't. And this is why it's such a fucking important thing when it comes to unionization and the labor effort. Because, like, when you got, like, Bank of America basically being like, oh, yeah, we hope it gets worse for all of you peasants. It's just like... I mean, there needs to be more and more of a very militant fucking mindset when it comes to, combating against this type of system and getting your rights, and your better pay and pensions and, conditions as, fucking workers in this country. Because this is just insane. This is fucking ridiculous. But, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Let's play up for a little bit. Be right back.
This is not even a leak. I mean, fucking the only difference between this and like and the average fucking what do you call it? The average textbook, the average econ textbook is that like leftists like to put a face and a name to the actual humans, okay, at the widget factory. If you think about it from a theoretical perspective, as you're learning it in your textbook, you never think about, in econ classes, you never learn about like the human beings that are at the widget factory, right? You just think about human beings as an asset. It's just capital stock, a resource. Whereas in the real world, you're the fucking human being, so you recognize it. Like when Powell says, the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, says his goal ultimately is to depress wages. He's literally talking about human beings. He's talking about how, in order to combat inflation, what we must do is depress wages. That, in and of itself, is still factoring in corporate profits into the equation without ever tackling the concept of corporate profits or profit margins getting smaller and smaller. If your worldview does not revolve around corporate profits taking a hit in any capacity, if that is never a solution, then someone's got to pay. Who's got to pay? The workers. That is the component that is always seen as disposable. Who are the workers? You, motherfucker. You are the workers. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They think, oh, I went to college. Oh, I'm built differently. Like, you know, my parents are upper middle class. Like, we're going to be fine. It's like, no, your parents are workers too. Most of your parents are. On a press conference on May 4th, Powell announced that the Fed would be raising interest rates by 0.5% and implementing policies aimed at reducing inflation in the United States. The reason why they wanted to do it like this was because Powell said employers are having difficulties filling job openings and wages are rising at the fastest pace in many years. That was Powell's complaint. There are more job vacancies than there are unemployed people in the United States as the economy recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic. Powell claimed this discrepancy between job vacancies and unemployment is due to high wages, which discourages workers from taking bad, low-paying jobs with few benefits and therefore give them too much power. Wages are running high, the highest they've run in quite some time. Workers need to be disciplined by the labor market. He said, there's a path by which we would be able to have demand moderate in the labor market and therefore have vacancies come down without unemployment going up, because vacancies are such at an extraordinarily high level. There are 1.9 vacancies for every unemployed person, 11.2 million vacancies, and 6 million unemployed people. That is basically saying, we gotta starve you out. So you shut the fuck up and you go back to work for wages that are ridiculous and take on conditions that are absolutely unattainable, inhumane. It doesn't matter. Definitely not a supply issue. Definitely a people having too much spending power issue. The fuck is wrong with these evil people? Yeah. Even if
is that part of what they actually think? Is that like, oh, people have too much spending power? It's like, there's barely any at all. Like, people barely have, like, any at, like, honestly, I barely just got, like, you know, some more expendable income, like, in the past, like, couple of weeks just because of, like, our whole new contract and shit. Because of, weirdly enough, of a union.
with spending power, there are two components to this. If there's too much demand, if demand is heating up and supply can't keep up with it, why the fuck don't you improve supply? How are you going to not improve supply then? No. It's the demand that we must curb. Here, this is Young Turks' very own Jessica Burbank. I wanted to show from
I mean, it's just, I mean, if you have like a high demand, like by proxy, you would think, oh, you know, improve supply. But I guess a part of, you know, hoping that conditions get worse is that, you know, people don't have enough spending power, thus, you know, decrease demand. It's like that's not. It's like that's literally not how it works. Like, just because I don't necessarily have a spending power doesn't mean I have a demand in certain things and shit. Do you fucking mind, sir? But it's just like, just because, you know, I don't necessarily have the ability to, you know, buy something, you know, like right now or, you know, anytime soon necessarily, doesn't mean I have a demand for it. It's like, what? It's like maybe she increases supply, thus helps, you know, decrease the price on it, thus, you know, is able to alleviate a lot of demand because then there's more people able to access that thing. And what in the, can I really help you get this, get your paws off the table? One of these days, you're going to literally knock this entire setup over, and you're going to bring a bong, break a laptop, whole 9 yards, and I'm going to be very mad at you. Let's not have that happen, bro. Stop.
Inflation. This is great news. Well, what they're set to do is likely to make this worse. The Fed's plan is going to increase the amount of people who are unemployed. Why would they do that? Well, the Fed just issued its largest interest rate hike since 1994. Their working theory is that if they increase interest rates, it'll be more expensive to borrow money, so less people will start businesses and invest in businesses. That means there will be less jobs, and when there's less jobs, there's more competition in the labor market. People will take jobs for lower wages. Wages will go down. People will have less money. There will be less spending into the economy, and demand will go down, and then prices will go down. Does that always work? The solution's got to be relevant to the problem.
That literally, that doesn't work. Besides, alleviate more suffering and fucking, just continue more poverty and shit like that. Like, that's not alleviate. It just exacerbates it. It's like, where it's just like, it's like, hey, as long as we basically, do pretty much everything to stagnate wages and make it so people have less and less buying power by, like, especially bumping up interest rates, especially when it comes to people borrowing money, then no one's going to want to do that. And even then, that doesn't even work because people are still going to probably, get these loans and shit. But they're just going to have even more ridiculous butt-fuck debt because, of the higher interest rates. Like, it ain't going to really mean that much shit.
Criticizing the Fed for taking this approach because the problem is prices are high. We need a solution that will bring them back down.
And the only way to bring them back down is by starving out the population so they can't buy fucking food anymore, okay? You're buying too much food. You're buying too much shit. You're buying too much goods, bro.
Pretty much. It's like trying to cut you. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's just like, hey, we got, like, cancer in the pancreas. Let's cut our foot off. That would help.
Too many of you motherfuckers have cars. Too many of you motherfuckers have food. No reason. We should not control. We should not try to...
Too many of you motherfuckers probably have guns, maybe.
Supply, okay? No DPA, no nothing. We just gotta cut. We just gotta cut it. But who's raising the prices? Oh, it's the corporations that are raising the prices, and corporate consolidation makes it very easy to do that through what is known as price leadership, which is, of course, the legal way of saying price fixing, which...
Or, hear me out, we could pay people more to offset inflation and cap artificial inflation. Yeah. And also, maybe have, some federal investigations into companies that, were potentially price gouging and using as inflation as an excuse to do so. I mean, we could probably do that too as well. Just different things like that.
Totally illegal and very different. Never forget, how many times have I described this? Price fixing happens in a smoke-filled room in a backdoor dealing. Price leadership, on the other hand, especially in a hyper consolidated market like all of our fucking commodities, is totally cool, totally legal, totally valid, totally chill. Remember
and that's
that.
Cringe.
So then why does the Fed think it will work? They don't. What? They don't. Jerome Powell admitted that on the floor of Congress.
Chair Powell, will gas prices go down as a result of your interest rate increase?
I would not think so, no.
Okay. Chair Powell, will the Fed's interest rate increases bring food prices?
Yeah, that's why Dark Brandon handled it, dude. Stole the orb, brought the fucking gas prices down forcibly. Supply issues are a scapegoat. Supply chain disruptions are already taken into account as best as possible. Companies have what we call purchasing managers. Companies are just taken away by raising prices. No. Real supply issues occurred during COVID. The problem is, that's when, for example, auto dealerships realized, and even car manufacturers realized, oh fuck, we can actually just increase prices. We can literally just increase.
You really think that was just the automotive industry that thought that? I mean, it was like most industries, like even grocery stores were hella into this shit. Like, I mean, honestly, like our company now more than ever is like practically gouging the fuck out of people. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, frankly, I don't even necessarily give people the actual price, what, they want to price gouge people of and shit, because it's just retardedly insane, honestly. Do you mind?
Now that is a normal market condition, because value is not assigned by how much labor value is put into it. Value to a certain particular thing in our capitalist dogmatic way of thinking is assigned by what you are willing to pay for a particular product. It's made up, ultimately, So if people are desperate to purchase your food because, you know, you'll die without food, then obviously when they realize, oh man, we can actually raise the prices of food and people will still buy it, even
or steal it.
if we don't actually increase supply, that's how you arrive at this level of, that's how you arrive at this kind of inflation.
Inflation.
I mean, same thing with stealing food as well, because if people can't afford it, they're going to steal it. And also there's a lot of insurance and, you know, and various different shit like that when it comes into what's accounted for when it comes to theft. And companies, if anything, will get money back, you know, for shit that's lost, you know, when it comes to stolen items. So, all in all, you know, like, fundamentally, they're not actually, like, you know, really losing money when you steal shit from them. They're getting money back, you know, being reimbursed to them for this type of shit. So it's just like, if anything, you know, a lot of it's just kind of a scheme, because, you know, they continue making profit and continue making money, even if the shit that they buy, you know, is a little bit inflated to some degree and shit. They can still make money off it, even if it gets stolen. That's why a lot of companies don't even give, especially grocery stores, don't give a shit if people steal food and steal different things. You know, whether how small or big, you know, of, you know, like, shit they're stealing. You know, because in a lot of ways, I mean, they just get, you know, insurance cut out of it and are able to fucking, you know, just, like, get a little reimbursement off of it. So, the cycle keeps going on. Oh my god, the world could be collapsing on itself, and these people would be like, but what about the gas prices? They're low. Oh, thing gets obliterated by the lava geyser. I mean, for real, dude.
Price changes over time, so to get these prices back down, we've got to know why they were set higher. Do we know what caused the price increases? Listen, there's a lot going on. The COVID pandemic, supply chain breakdowns, shortages from sanctions and war, all of those things can add to the cost of getting goods and services to market. But corporations are seeing record profits, which means that they set prices higher than to just account for the additional production and transportation costs. They set prices higher to make money.
How is it that people are...
AKA price gouging.
Are not recognizing corporate profits are still pretty fucking solid. Not only that, but, like, OPEC is a great...
Like I was saying, you know, about Cracker Barrel. Like, they were making 11 more percent profit in comparison to last year and shit. And this is... you know, with them expanding their markets a little bit, but at the same time, also, like, closing off in some areas, you know, like here in Portland, because they closed down a Cracker Barrel for good up here. So it's just like, I mean, despite all this shit, you know, where it's like problems where, like, oh, you know, we have to close down certain places and shit like that. A lot of it is just, you know, them cutting the costs so they can continue making more money and shit, because, you know, their profits will evidently keep going up, and, you know, it's not necessarily just price gouging for it, but it's pretty much the main big fucking factor to it.
Directly a cartel, right? So you kind of see it because they set the price. They set the price for a barrel of oil by completely controlling supply. That is not a market condition, okay? But corporate consolidation in America has rendered every single fucking industry, every single sector to operate exactly like OPEC. Maybe they don't get into a fucking dealing in a like I said, smoke filled room, but they are doing that together collectively, and it's much easier to do that when there's no real fucking competition. Stop asking why don't they have these problems in China, man? Why do you think they don't have these problems in China? Why do you
Oh my god.
Because that's a fucking government that does what government is theoretically supposed to do. But we have conditioned ourselves to believing like the only people that do that are communists.
I mean, kinda, but... Yeah.
Communists, okay? If a government is supposed to do what the government's supposed to do, sometimes executing billionaires if they're fucking, you know, stepping out of line, for example, and many more things, then, you know, that's communism. Maybe not the corporate executive execution thing.
I will give China one thing. Execute billionaires because they kind of stepped their boundaries. Kind of based.
Some kind of price control and some kind of...
I guess they still have some elements of Mao's ideology, you know, clinging on to their current system. I mean, try words too, I guess. Satire, YouTube.
On the free enterprise is completely unjustifiable, and that's communist. That's communism. You're doing communism. It's like, no, motherfucker, that's not communism. That's just like what governments are supposed to do. What the fuck is a government then? Is it just a funnel to take your money in the form of taxes and then give it directly to fucking corporations? Is that what the government?
Yeah. What do you think it is, brother? They earn their merit. What the fuck you talking about there, brother? What are you, a communist? Groomer? A woke lib?
American government is just like fucking 8 corporations and a human in a government suit. They're just hanging out. They're like, oh no, we're government. Don't look inside the trench coat, okay? Do not look inside the trench coat. It's not 8 corporations inside the trench coat. No matter what you do, okay? We are a government. We're different.
You know how CEOs are on Wall Street. They live quarter by quarter. If they're off by a penny in earnings, Wall Street is not forgiven. So what are the CEOs doing? They're raising prices. I see food prices going up. Promotions are down to 0. Why give away something when you don't have to give it away and you make more margin?
Yeah, I mean, that's
basically
like.
I mean, he's just being honest about it, but yeah, true.
That's it.
I mean, it's the same way with going on in our grocery store, honestly. So sorry, this billionaire met with an unfortunate tiger mauling accident. I'm afraid that happens a lot to billionaires that don't follow the rules in this country. Yeah, if only that was the U.S.
I'm a fucking conspiracy theorist, disgusting commie, okay? When he says it on CNBC, that's like, oh, that's brilliant, thank you. Thank you for describing how that works, actually. No, and that's totally valid. It's an in-group, out-group thing, okay? If you are a capitalist pig dog, okay, and you're fucking clapping ass cheeks, then when you say that, that is adequate. That's appropriate. That's cool. When you're outside of that club and you're saying that exact same thing, they're like, you're a conspiracy theorist. Shut the fuck up. No one would do that. I mean, yeah, we already mentioned this, but like, this is punishing you, okay? Chevron, Exxon posting record quarterly profits as commodity prices boom. That is to punish.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and also there, I think Extra Miles, a company that's under Chevron, and I have a friend that works for them, and honestly, like, he basically gets overworked, fucking paycheck to paycheck type of shit, doesn't, get paid fair, and, basically gets fucked over at his work in a lot of ways, and, if anything, taken for granted for and shit because he's actually like one of the good workers at the fucking gas station there. And straight up it's just like, I mean, it go figure that like Chevron will be like, yes, here, let's just rub it in by posting our record quarterly profits. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, pretty much just like that, like every quarterly with these fucking fossil fuel industries, honestly, outside of COVID probably in that year.
Of not guzzling enough fucking oil during the COVID pandemic. You understand? That's it. That's what this is. This is literally to make up for all of their lost earnings because the governments didn't give them enough money. Governments gave them money on the hopes that they wouldn't fire people. They still fired people. They took the money. But now they have to punish you because, hey, last year we didn't make as much money. I'll fucking kill you if I have to. You understand? Get fucked. The argument is that it should be a complete free market for all goods, but inelastic goods like food and gas while raising...
Yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, if that's how, like, the capitalist class and the middle class wants to, operate as, then I would say, let's have at it then, as far as I'm concerned, because, I mean, essentially is how they view it. It's like, if you're not able to, be a part of the cognitive machine and be obedient enough and be, low enough on a totem pole to maximize their profits, then they basically just want you to die quickly. Especially if you're sick. Because at that point, the more reliability to their profit margin more than anything else.
Demand should be regulated. In fact, we already have laws to prevent this type of price gouging during disasters. Yes, but dude bikes, like we already talked about, this is not considered price gouging, my friend. Price gouging is when some fucking random wantrepreneur dickhead decides to increase the prices of a particular good that they're selling during a natural disaster.
People in movies always have so much will to live.
Happening at a time when the entire economy is fucking tanking, then that's not considered.
I mean, if anything, if I do get bit, I want to do it like either at DC or fucking like like at the like most like rich elitist like part of the city here in Portland or some shit, and make sure that my zombie ass, gets a lot of rich bougie fucking fucks. That'd be my plan. We're still aware, but you have no control of your actions. At that point, I probably would just take the bullet and be done with it. I mean, knowing that I'd be eating rich, elite, bougie, fucking liberal, NIMBY fucks and shit like that, and like status quo fucking shitbags and conservative Karen wine moms, I mean, I suppose, there would be some bliss into it. I'll have, moments of euphoria. I can at least, be down with that.
The free market. That's just the free market working as intended. When you have an inelastic good, when you have a good that has an inelastic demand, for example, like the pharmaceutical industry in its entirety, because without medicine, you'll die. Okay? So that means it's an inelastic demand good. It's not considered price gouging when the price of EpiPen goes up, because you're Joe Manchin's daughter, and that's what you're gonna fucking do. And also, schools are gonna have to buy that EpiPen regardless, because they don't want kids to fucking die when there is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches being served at school. That's how this works. And that's precisely
tastes like rank hypocrisy, smugness.
Of these,
at least it might be a little savory, considering that I'd be eating them as a zombie.
Goods are actually heavily regulated in its pricing. One way to do that from the most capitalist perspective is by price bargaining. When you buy in bulk, if you have socialized medicine in your civilized country, okay, even if you're in the third world, even if you're a developing nation, you're still a civilized country that cares about its citizens, otherwise they will fucking revolt and kill you, right?
True.
When you're buying medicine in bulk, you negotiate.
Which, low-key, I mean, nothing being applied, but, I mean, maybe if that type of mentality kind of grew more and more, here, that'd probably maybe, put a fire in some, people's asses about things, but, that's me. Again, not applying or advocating nothing, just saying.
Negotiate them all the way down to manageable levels. That's why you can buy over-the-counter fucking, in Turkey. If you go to any pharmacy in Turkey, you can buy the same shit in America that's being sold for $1,000 for fucking 3 liras, right? Why? Because they're buying it in bulk and they're driving the prices down. These pharmaceutical corporations understand that it's totally fine. That those people are not willing to pay more for it, so we can't charge them more. You know what country doesn't allow pharmaceutical price bargaining to occur?
America.
And literally had it illegal until the last part of the Obama administration, at least for the Veterans Affairs Office. The United States of America. I already gave the game away.
I mean, you already gave the game away as soon as you said Obama.
In the United States of America, pharmaceutical price negotiations was...
I mean, it didn't take a genius to figure that out, though.
Literally illegal until, fucking 2016. Across the board. But one of the only socialized components, one of the only socialized medicine, socialized healthcare components that exists in this fucking hellscape was the VA. VA, as a consequence of constantly skyrocketing medical prices and a gigantic pool of people who are desperate for medical care, with a pool that is ever growing, considering America's wars are never going to end, so there's always new fucking veterans that need PTSD care and health care because they're getting their shit blown off, okay?
Yeah. I'm starting to get immediately reminded of that bad empanadas shit I was going off about earlier now all of a sudden. Because it's like, oh, I don't want to go off of that again, but it's just like, I'm reminded of that fucking twerp. Because it's like, yeah, considering, knowing that, the VA was pretty much, the only real way that we had, any form of, price negotiations at all, and prior to that was being illegal, there's a reason why, despite maybe, living in your little hoity-toity little place to breathe, I'm going off on it again, but whatever. A lot of these type of policies matter a fuckload here because of, the experience that, Americans have to go through when it comes to this shit. Because at the end of the day, you think people have a choice?
So they finally said, let's lower prices by allowing the VA to negotiate. This was quite a controversial bill at the time. It was quite the controversial provision. Right now, as we speak, There is another one.
Well, real leftists won't support it because it supports veterans, and by proxy, they're imperialist hitman, so... Oh my god, I really hate that smug fucking bastard. Like, I'm just gonna go off about that guy for a while, honestly.
The Biden administration is trying to do currently is implement price negotiations for Medicaid. They're trying to do that right now. And that's very frustrating for a lot of corporate lobbyists. A lot of corporate lobbyists look to that and say, nah, fuck that. I work for Johnson & Johnson, baby. And my senator also works for Johnson & Johnson, too. How does he work for Johnson & Johnson? Maybe because his
lobbying, bribes,
wife or his daughter works for J&J directly. How does he work for Johnson & Johnson? Because J&J is going to give you dark money, okay, through a super PAC. You can get fucking reelected, even though you're a criminal, like Bob Menendez. This is how the system works.
Or at least when it comes to fossil fuel industry and coal industry, Joe Manchin.
It is fundamental.
And QC Cinema, Ford Pharma, and fossil fuel industry both. And all in all, and this is the reason why we can't have nice things in this country, basically. Like, until, like, the whole, legality of money in this country is very much abolished and shit. Like, at least how it stands in the current paradigm. Like, I mean, this shit is just going to continue to happen. Because fundamentally, I mean, like, the owner class just wants nothing more than pretty much everyone under their fucking heel to starve and be under their boot and be obedient and much of a cog in their machine as possible to maximize their profits, their influence, and their wealth and power. That's it. I mean, it's pretty much what it's always been about. And until that shit fundamentally, you know, shifts, yeah, like, there's, I mean, this type of cycle is just going to continue. Whether it's, you know, on a very longer term type of scale with, like, you know, social democracies or whatever the fuck, or on a more accelerated rate over here in the U.S., I mean, it just needs to shift because it's just going to, you know, continue to get worse nonetheless, you know, despite how many, like, little bumps of progress, you know, we might try to make along the way. Because even, like, a lot of these, you know, different European countries are, you know, going to feel the, you know, face of it, you know, at the end of the day. I mean, just trying to, you know, keep capitalism under, like, you know, some leash. It's not necessarily something you can leash up. Especially if it's, like, you know, something that's more rabies infected than anything. Can't really cure rabies. But yeah, I'm on 9 minutes till like the 4-hour mark. Shit. Don't want to round it up. I want to round it up to a nice little juicy 4-hour mark. What in the fuck are you doing over there? Hey, you. Sukov, what are you doing? Yeah, you. Hey, get over here. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. About off to bed myself. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna give myself some food, especially if, like, Rose showed me, like, some of those Native American dishes and shit like that earlier. It's just like, fuck. Definitely want to, like, it's that, like, fry bread, that, like, Native American fry bread looked fucking fire. That, like, a Three Sisters soup looked pretty amazing. If you just, if you weren't in on that, then you could just kind of go back a little bit on stream, probably, like, 30 minutes ago or something like that, but, or maybe a little bit more, like 40 or something. Actually, I think it was more like 3-hour mark, so maybe like 50 minutes, but, oh, some of the food looked, it sounded really good. And God, I wish I had some of that right now instead. But I have Doritos and Red Baron pizzas, so, not even remotely close to the dankness that I wish I could enjoy. Pop. Okay. I'll snack on plenty of Doritos anyway, so I think I'll be good with those. Zukov, look at you. Now get back here. Jerk. Do I have anything to give you a snack? No. Shit. Come here. Come here. Man, yeah, fuck you. You're a jerk, bro. Like, every time I want you to, like, you know, just be on my lap and just, like, get loves and cuddles, you do this. You run over there, and then you just stare at me. Asshole. You're just a little ass. Look at you. Come here. Come here. Get over here. Come on, boy. Come here. Really? Come on. Get over here. Come on. Zukov. Come here. Oh, yeah. Whatever. Alright, I give up. I think he thinks I'm gonna get up or something, which I guess is true, but not right now. Jumping the gun, bro. Anyway, I think I'll call it good for the rest of a little bit of evening. I'll just cut 5 minutes short instead of rounding it up. Fuck it. I'm hungry. So, peace out. And I shall see y'all in our next one.